known as the god of death of Konoha. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 226 Uchiha Raizumi's discomfort. After Kushina was cured by Bai Yu, Minato Namikaze was also relieved. Minato, you stay here with Kushina and Uzumaki Naruto now. I have to find a new home. Bai Yu was so angry when he thought about the Ninetales that destroyed his home. But after all, the Ninetales is following him now, so it's not easy to beat the Ninetales again. So he said to Minato Namikaze helplessly, by the way, help me find a new home. Minato Namikaze also said helplessly, and me. In the night sky, the cold wind blew. Hatake Tsukumo and Hatake Kakashi, father and son, were leaning on the window. Hatake Tsukumo's voice came in easily. Oh my god, are you a ghost? No, when did you, an old guy, have the hobby of leaning on other people's windows? Bai Yu was startled when he heard this, because Bai Yu was concentrating on thinking about his house, and a sudden sentence was really scary. Not only Bai Yu, but also Minato Namikaze was startled. It's not that the two of them were so low on their guard. Not only Bai Yu was thinking about the house, but Minato Namikaze was also thinking about it, and most of Minato Namikaze's mind was on Kushina and Uzumaki Naruto. Looking at the dead fish eyes of the Hatake father and son, Bai Yu took a rough breath. Got it. Bai Yu said unhappily. See, it saves money. I told you, your teacher Bai Yu must be very generous. We can also save money for the village in a roundabout way. For the village. Your father really took great pains. Hatake Tsukumo said happily to Hatake Kakashi. Father, this is not good, right? Hatake Kakashi's eyes flashed with a bit of entanglement, and he said with 9 points of joy. What's wrong with it? I tell you, this guy, needless to say, will even pay for the share of the hokage. You is a good person. Hatake Tsukumo's face was almost written with 2 words shameless. You. Hearing Hatake Tsukumo's shameless remarks, Minato Namikaze was also a little embarrassed. No need to say. I'll take care of it. Bai Yu said with a dark face, and then walked out of the ward. Well, actually I want to say that you don't have to pay for me. In this case, thank you anyway, you. Namikaze Minato said awkwardly. Bai Yu stumbled and almost fell when he heard that. He gave middle finger with his backhand. Without saying anything, he walked out of the ward. Namikaze Minato hugged Uzumaki Naruto and said with a smile, son, we have a new home. Are you happy? And it's free. When you grow up, you must treat your uncle Bai Yu well. Hehe. Uzumaki Naruto felt Namikaze Minato's emotions and laughed. Seeing this, Hatake Tsukumo smiled. The purpose of his coming was to see Uchiha Fugaku and Kushina. As for the house, it was purely a sudden inspiration and an unexpected gain. As for the house, Hatake Tsukumo didn't really care. After all, Hatake Tsukumo had been in the ninja world for so many years, and he didn't even have the money to buy a house. The name of Konoha White Fang was really in vain. Originally, Hatake Tsukumo had no money, but in the past few years, he has cooperated with Bai Yu to run the Bai Group. How can he not have money? Father, where are we going? Hatake Kakashi looked at Hatake Tsukumo and asked. The Ninetales rampage incident is over. Except for some ninjas in necessary positions, ninjas of Hatake Kakashi's level are still free to go out, unless they are on a mission or something under certain circumstances happens. Well, let's go to the hot springs. Then stay in the hotel for a few days. After all, it will take more than a day or two for Bai Yu to get a house. Hatake Tsukumo said with a smile. Of course, he would only laugh at Hatake Kakashi. Hatake Tsukumo didn't have a nerve adjustment. He lost more than 100 ninjas overnight, and he still had the heart to laugh. It's just that Hatake Tsukumo didn't want to ruin the rare opportunity for father and son to enhance their relationship. At this time, Uchiha Fugaku's ward became lively. Uchiha Shizu, Uchiha Obito, and Noharain arrived. Uchiha Fugaku is the clan leader of Uchiha Obito. Uchiha Fugaku has also taken good care of Uchiha Obito, so Uchiha Obito must come to visit Uchiha Fugaku. And Noharain came with Uchiha Obito. The relationship between the two is not ordinary now. Uchiha Izumi also came. Like Uchiha Obito, they are all orphans now, and Beiki is also here. Seeing Uchiha Izumi, Beiki's face blushed slightly, but it returned to normal in an instant. After all, Bai Yu, Tsunade and Mikoto are all here. Uchiha Izumi quietly came to Beiki and asked about Uchiha Fugaku's situation. As the clan leader of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Fugaku usually takes good care of these orphans. Beiki whispered to Uchiha Izumi about Uchiha Fugaku's situation. When Beiki said that Bai Yu was his father, Uchiha Izumi was stunned without a word, and a trace of bitterness appeared in Uchiha Izumi's beautiful eyes. It would be a lie to say that she had no special feelings for Beiki. In fact, Uchiha Izumi knew that Beiki's last name was Bai, so she knew that Beiki must be Bai Yu's son. If she wanted to be with Beiki, Bai Yu's identity, Beiki's family background, and she, an orphan, were definitely not worthy of Beiki, so Uchiha Izumi began to give herself a lucky chance. Although she knew that the chance was almost zero, the fact was really in front of her, and Uchiha Izumi still felt a little uncomfortable. But Uchiha Izumi didn't show it. Instead, she looked at Uchiha Fugaku calmly. Huh? What's going on? This sad emotion? Bai Yu clearly sensed this unique emotion and observed the people in the wood without expression, and finally let Bai Yu find the source of the emotion. Uchiha Izumi. Everyone was concerned about the emotion. Is this sadness because Uchiha Fugaku was injured? But this sadness is clearly emotional. Could it be? Oh my god, Uchiha Fugaku is a beast! Exclamation mark. But Bai Yu thought about it, and it was not right. Why does Uchiha Izumi always glance at Beiki and himself? Could it be, oh my god, this girl likes me? Bai Yu thought in surprise. How is it possible? When she looked at himself, she was obviously a little sad, and when she looked at Beiki, she had another strange feeling, although it was very hazy, but as a person who has experienced it, well, it turned out to be because of Beiki. Did this brat do something to let him down? It can't be that he is so young. I grew up so fast because my soul traveled through time and space and practiced the Bai family's magic. Could this kid also grow up? It's impossible. If he traveled through time and space, I would definitely be able to notice it. Bai Yu really couldn't figure it out. He quietly pulled Uchiha Mikoto and Tsunade. He signaled with his eyes and walked to the corner. Tsunade, Uchiha Mikoto and Bai Yu have been married for so many years, and they still have this tacit understanding. Why not hand over Bai and Bai Heiho to Uchiha Shizu and Nohara and not to Uchiha Obito? Chapter 227 Tsunade's iron fist hits 3 times in a row. Bai Yu pulled Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto aside, one on each side, and quietly set up a soundproof array. Without alarming the people around, bystanders thought that the couple was going to whisper something, so they didn't care. Uchiha Obito's fire envoy was known to all the ninjas in the 5 villages, but only the ninjas of Konoha, including the common people, knew that Uchiha Obito was first famous in Konoha village for being a fool. As expected, after knowing that Uchiha Fugaku was fine, his character that never gets enough of being beaten instantly exploded. However, before it could cause public outrage, Narushikaku had already hung Uchiha Obito on the ceiling with the shadow seam technique. Uchiha Obito was also honored. This ninjutsu was a little useless ninjutsu invented by Bai Yu and Akimichi Choza after they jointly hung him on the tree. Originally, Bai Yu planned to use it next time when he wanted to hang someone on a tree and there was no rope, and he happened to be there. Unexpectedly, Uchiha Obito became the first guy to try it. Moreover, Narushikaku was considerate enough to cover Uchiha Obito's mouth with a medical gauze. He was swinging on the ceiling, twisting his body constantly. This scene dispelled a lot of Uchiha Mrs. worries. Uchiha Itachi also had a smile on his face. Uchiha Izumi couldn't help but smile. On the other side, Bai Yu told Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto about Beiki and Uchiha Izumi. Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto rolled their eyes at Bai Yu. Tsunade looked at Bai Yu with contempt and said, You, where did your cleverness go when you proposed to me and Mikoto? They are older and their IQ has improved, but you are different. You are older and your IQ has declined. That's right, isn't it obvious? You can't even see it. I thought it was a big deal. Uchiha Mikoto also glanced at Bai Yu and said with contempt, You said this child is the same. I was wondering why we didn't send him to school. Tsunade looked at Beiki and said lovingly, also, this child doesn't care about me when he wants money. He actually kissed the flesh that fell from his body with the laborer. Uchiha Makoto said with pretended sadness. In my opinion, Uchiha Izumi is a beautiful child. Beiki's vision is really like his father. Tsunade rolled her eyes at Bai Yu and said to Uchiha Makoto. Yes, by the way, you can see that Bai Yu's eyes are different when he looks at Uchiha Itachi. It seems that there is something going on. Uchiha Makoto saw Bai Yu glance at Uchiha Itachi. Her little face blushed and then returned to normal. Uchiha Itachi is a good child, but his personality is a bit dull. Too old-fashioned. Tsunade looked at Uchiha Itachi for a while and said, it's like his father. But I think this child is interested in Bai Yu. Uchiha Makoto said with a smile. The next is a conversation between the two women. Bai Yu stood aside awkwardly, not knowing whether to leave or not, and could not get a word in. You two can talk about what to do about this? Bai Yu touched his head and interrupted awkwardly. He had to interrupt. If the situation continued like this, they would not be able to finish the conversation tomorrow. Why are you so stupid? You still can't figure out what Izumi is thinking. Tsunade said unhappily. Izumi is obviously in trouble because of her family situation. You are so high ranking, and you are afraid that we will not agree to be with Beiki. Uchiha Makoto said in a caring tone. Ah, that's the case. Hey, why do these kids nowadays think so much? When I was that age. Ahem, that's right. Bai Yu suddenly thought of when he was 2 or 3 years older than Uchiha Izumi, looked at Tsunade who was blushing, and forced himself to change his words. Now that's the case, I know. Makoto, if you have nothing to do, talk to Missy about Itachi. As for Izumi, I'll go talk to Kya, and Izumi can come to our house to play. After all, I'm the only one who knows Beiki and Izumi, and I don't want to leave the image of a snitching dad in Kya's mind. Bai Yu turned the subject back to Beiki and Uchiha Itachi. Tsunade and Uchiha Makoto nodded. Bai Yu thought of something, and slapped his thigh. Oh my god, I almost forgot. The East District of Konoha was destroyed because of the Ninetales. Our home is gone. Bai Yu said helplessly. I should have known it earlier. Makoto and I have already moved the important items to Mrs. House. It's too late to wait for you. Tsunade rolled her eyes at Bai Yu and said. Ah. Haha. There is one more thing. That is, that I promised to pay for the construction of the house for Minato's family and Tsukumo's family. I don't have enough money, so I have to deduct it from the bank card. Anyway, we have so much money. Since Tsunade, who has become a good wife and mother, manages the family's money together with Uchiha Makoto, Bai Yu doesn't spend much money. Every month, Tsunade and Uchiha Makoto will give Bai Yu some money for daily use. But when Bai Yu really needs money, Tsunade and Uchiha Makoto are like two human-shaped calculators. No, Uchiha Makoto is the calculator, and Tsunade acts as the Sherlock Holmes of the ninja world, asking Bai Yu where to spend the money. Once the two feel that Bai Yu's money is not worth it, the following scene will appear. Bai Yu, you have money, right? Tsunade showed her arms, and rolled up her sleeves, and the veins on her forehead burst. Bai Yu, at this time, I support my sister. Uchiha Makoto began to make seals with both hands. You should know that, although Uchiha Makoto is not a combat ninja, she knows a lot of illusions and some interception ninjutsu. At this time, Tsunade and Uchiha Makoto embodied the unity that contemporary women should have, and the spirit of women not inferior to men. Bai Yu smiled bitterly, dodging Uchiha Makoto's ninjutsu, while avoiding Tsunade's iron fist. Accidentally, Bai Yu also lifted the soundproofing array. The ward was lively now. This is the first time seeing Bai Yu being beaten by Tsunade and Uchiha Makoto, and he couldn't fight back. Narashikaku was also excited to watch, and accidentally lifted the ninjutsu that was hanging Uchiha Obito. But Narashikaku didn't care. Beiki and Bai Yu covered their faces. It was too embarrassing. It's okay at home. Uchiha Itachi looked at Bai Yu with a puzzled look, and Uchiha Izumi also looked at Beiki. Beiki and Bai Yu couldn't help but smile bitterly and explain to Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Izumi. After listening to Beiki and Bai Yu, Uchiha Itachi smiled as he watched the couple being beaten unilaterally. Uchiha Izumi was slightly relieved. Such a family should be able to accept him, right? Thinking of this, Uchiha Izumi blushed and forced herself to calm down. What's more infuriating is that Uchiha Obito exploded at this time. Master Makoto. Use water escape to seal the left side of the master. Use lightning escape to seal the top of the master's head. Use fire escape to seal the right side of the master. There's a wall behind the master. The master will definitely not be able to run away this time. Master Tsunade. Feint the master's left. Then a straight punch. Pin it to the wall, and then use combination punches freely. Bang. Bai Yu accidentally took Tsunade's punch and leaned his back against the wall. The wall cracked instantly. Hiss. Everyone took a breath of cold air when they saw this scene. Bai Yu patted his chest and his clothes were wrinkled by Tsunade. He shouted angrily, "Obito, you stinky boy. Tomorrow I will hang you on the tallest tree in Konoha. For 3 days and 3 nights. Then bang bang bang." Tsunade's iron fists hit 3 times in a row. Exclamation mark. While everyone was amazed at Bai Yu's ability to withstand blows, they couldn't help but look at Uchiha Obito with pity. Chapter 228 Kyuubi's inner discomfort. The strength of Tsunade's punches, just by the dust slowly spreading in the ward, can tell that it is quite powerful. After Tsunade attacked for a while, Bai Yu smiled. He did not dodge, and even did not care about the ninjutsu released by Uchiha Makoto. Relying on his strong chakra, he used chakra to disperse Uchiha Makoto's ninjutsu. With the sound of a few punches hitting flesh, Bai Yu put his left hand around Tsunade's waist, and then took Tsunade and put his right hand around Uchiha Makoto's waist. With a domineering smile, he said, "Okay, I vented. I've already promised them. Be good, we don't need this little money. Can't I discuss it with you later?" The magnetic voice and the domineering embrace made the two women's hearts, which had long been calm, beat rapidly. But when they saw everyone's strange eyes, the two women blushed. Bai Yu, Uchiha Izumi, Noharurin, these girls whispering in their hearts, couldn't help but look at Uchiha Itachi, Baiki, Uchiha Obito around them. They really can't compare with Bai Yu. Although Bai Yu is very beautiful, his style of doing things is undoubtedly a standard example of male chauvinism. Several girls couldn't help but start to measure their sweethearts by Bai Yu's standards. Narashikaku, the old fox, gave Bai Yu a thumbs up implicitly, and Bai Yu gave a smug smile in return. Uchiha Shizu, who was standing aside, didn't know what he was thinking. Ahem, well, it's getting late. Let's go home. Uchiha Fugaku will wake up tomorrow. It's not appropriate for so many of us to be here. Bai Yu coughed twice and said, do you want to stay at my house for a few days? Narashikaku knew that Bai Yu's house was destroyed by the Ninetales, so he said, "Of course. But it's too late today, let's do it tomorrow. You should clean up a few rooms quickly. Your name is Uchiha Izumi, right? I heard you told me about me. I want to stay at your house for 1 night today, is that okay, Izumi?" Bai Yu said to Narashikaku very impolitely first, and then said to Uchiha Izumi with a smile. When Uchiha Izumi heard this, she suddenly became nervous. But she still nodded happily and said, "Welcome, Lord Bai Yu. It's Milna." Her little face flushed with excitement. "Teacher, you can actually live at my house too," Uchiha Obito said weakly on the side. "You? Come on. If it weren't for Noharurin, I guess you wouldn't even have clean clothes. TSK. Brat, you didn't say anything, and I forgot. Wait until tomorrow. Humph." Bai Yu glanced at Uchiha Obito and said unhappily. Uchiha Obito instantly lost his temper. He was thinking of showing his courtesy and defusing Bai Yu's inner conspiracy, drawing circles silently in the corner. When Noharurin heard this, her face instantly turned red like a red apple. Just as Bai Yu said, it was the first time he went to Uchiha Obito's house. Although his house was big, there was a bed of dusty clothes piled up in a guest room. It's the same if you live in my house," Uchiha Missy also said quickly. Uchiha Itachi also said something. Uchiha Itachi was extremely grateful to Bai Yu for saving his father. "Teacher, my house is also fine. I live alone too," Uchiha Shizu also said. "Okay, Missy, Itachi, you can stay with Fugaku with peace of mind. The same goes for Shizu. I know you actually want to stay with Fugaku. I'll go to Izumi's house today," Bai Yu said with a smile. Uchiha Shizu can be regarded as Fugaku's godson, so the relationship is naturally beyond doubt. After leaving the ward, Uchiha Izumi felt dizzy, but Uchiha Izumi did not lose her mind, but secretly said in her heart that she must perform well today and try to leave a good impression in Bai Yu's heart. Then he looked at Baiki, who had a happy look on his face. Walking out of the hospital building, he saw a mess all around, and only the area where the nine-tailed fox was lying was good. Suddenly he remembered the noise coming from downstairs when he was treating Uchiha Fugaku. At this time, there happened to be a medical ninja. Bai Yu hurriedly called him over and asked what had just happened here. Hearing the medical ninja's story, Bai Yu immediately knew what was going on. When Tsunade and Uchiha Makoto saw the nine-tailed fox, a trace of fluctuation flashed in their eyes. But there was no action. They all knew that Bai Yu had subdued the nine-tailed fox. However, as a member of the Senju clan, Tsunade naturally knew some things about the nine-tailed fox. Although she was worried that the nine-tailed fox would run away again, she trusted Bai Yu's strength. Kurama, let's go. Bai Yu shouted to the nine-tailed fox who was looking at him. The nine-tailed fox was relieved, and he was also afraid. Afraid that Bai Yu would abuse him inhumanely. For example, slapping his face crazily. You, don't you hate me? The nine-tailed fox came over and said something out of the blue, which made Bai Yu stunned. Why should I hate you? Bai Yu asked back. I killed so many people in Konoha and destroyed your family. Gyuu's mind flashed back to the hateful eyes of those people just now, and he suddenly felt very uncomfortable. Because there was no hatred, no anger, and no greed for his own power in Bai Yu's eyes when he looked at him. This made Gyuu compare himself and suddenly felt uncomfortable with the way everyone looked at him just now. In fact, Gyuu himself didn't know why he had this feeling. He obviously thought it was nothing before. You were controlled at that time. After all, you are also a victim. You didn't touch me before, so you were so wild. Now, if you make a mistake, I will slap you until you become a good fox. Haha. Bai Yu didn't think much about it, but touched Gyuu's hair and said with a smile. Upon hearing this, Gyuu's mouth twitched, and he didn't say anything, but followed Bai Yu. Along the way, Gyuu was about to go berserk. Those pairs of cold and hateful eyes. It made Gyuu unable to control his murderous aura. But it doesn't matter. If the nine-tails can't be controlled, Bai Yu will help him control it. Slap him on the face. Baiki, Bai Yu, and Uchiha Izumi were a little afraid of the nine-tails on the way, but when they saw the nine-tails in Bai Yu's hands, like a disobedient pet, they felt relieved. When they arrived at Uchiha Izumi's house, Uchiha Izumi ran around, cleaned the house, and made a lot of midnight snacks for everyone. The ingredients naturally came from the handbag that Baiki gave her. Bai Yu, Tsunade, and Uchiha Makoto were not stingy with their praise. Tsunade also told Uchiha Izumi that when her house is rebuilt in the future, she will let Uchiha Izumi go to her house to play. This made Uchiha Izumi happy and relieved. Bai Yu saw all of this and decided to go to Uchiha Itachi's house in the same way in the future. Chapter 229, Scientific Absorption of Nine-Tailed Chuck. The next day, Kushina and Uchiha Fugaku both recovered, and they were discharged from the hospital on the same day. Bai Yu left Uchiha Izumi's house and took his family to Narushikaku's house. Bai Yu's arrival made the Nara clan lively. The reason is simple. The Nine-Tails is notorious, so it must be lively. But seeing Bai Yu training the Nine-Tails like a grandson, everyone felt relieved. Moreover, Bai Yu's personal charm is also very great, and he was warmly welcomed by the Nara clan. After everyone left, Narushikaku was busy with his own affairs. There were many things that needed to be dealt with after the overpass changes. Bai Yu was different. Unless the incident reached a certain level, Bai Yu would not be asked to come forward. Bai Yu sent someone to call Narahirakoa. Irakoa, do you have any ideas about the East District? Bai Yu asked. Although the question was very general, Narahirakoa's mind was very clear. Narahirakoa sorted out his thoughts. The losses are now being counted, but Lord Hokage will definitely come to you, Beitao. My idea is that, since the Nine-Tails is now with you, our Bai family group will bear the responsibility of rebuilding the East District. However, in terms of taxation in the future, a portion of the taxes paid by the East District to Konoha will be allocated to the Bai family group. In addition to the commercial part, we can use the space to develop several residential areas. These residential areas are mainly for families from other villages or businessmen who come to Konoha to settle down. Moreover, we can rebuild our East District's industries in a better location. Naruhirakoa slowly told his thoughts. And Naruhirakoa also talked about some of the advantages of the Naru clan in dispensing medicine. After listening to Naruhirakoa, Bai Yu realized that Narushikaku was hiding something. But this aspect is the foundation of the Naru clan. It's not easy to cooperate. If the Naru clan has cooperation in this regard, we can try. Other places are very well considered. You are indeed Hirakoa. Haha. Okay, you can go and talk to Minato directly. I believe Minato is now worried about the loss. Bai Yu said with a smile. With Minato Namikaze's personality, he would definitely think that the Ninetales was caused by Kushina, and he should bear it himself, but the amount is still too large, and he can't raise so much money at once. The best way is to find Bai Yu, but once he finds Bai Yu, he is afraid that Bai Yu will misunderstand that Minato Namikaze wants Bai Yu to pay for the Ninetales. But Bai Yu's idea is indeed right. Minato Namikaze is in the office, looking at the statistical reports one by one, and he is so worried that he is about to pull his hair. Kushina is teasing Uzumaki Naruto without caring about anything. Seeing that Naruhirakoa is about to leave, Bai Yu suddenly remembered the issue of the house promised to Minato Namikaze and Hatake Tsukumo. Wait a minute, Hirakoa. Bai Yu called Naruhirakoa. What's wrong, Baitao? Naruhirakoa asked. My family, the Hatake family, and Minato's family, get them out first. Bai Yu said awkwardly. After all, he is now considered a top figure in the ninja world, but his family is gone. It is really embarrassing. Okay. Naruhirakoa smiled and said, then walked out. Bai Yu breathed a sigh of relief when everything was over. Then he walked briskly and found Uchihirobito to fulfill his promise. He hung Uchihirobito on the tree and left. He ignored Uchihirobito's pig-killing screams. So Uchihirobito became famous in Konoha village again. Of course, Bai Yu noticed that Nohara-in was hiding nearby, and Nohara-in would definitely let Uchihirobito down. Otherwise, Bai Yu would not really hang Uchihirobito on the tree and leave him alone. With the addition of the Bai group, Minato Namikaze felt relieved. What remains is to count the sacrifice ninjas and organize a memorial service. That night, the Uchiha clan held a banquet to celebrate the recovery of Uchiha Fugaku and Kushina. When Kushina saw the nine-tailed fox, her eyes were a little complicated, but she still told Bai Yu to treat the nine-tailed fox well. A few days later, in order to allow the nine-tailed fox to live a normal life in Konoha village, Minato Namikaze also publicly displayed some evidence that the nine-tailed fox was controlled and went berserk. Although the resentment has been reduced a lot. After all, the loss of the village and the sacrifice of personnel were caused by the nine-tailed fox himself. It is also not very popular with the villagers. But the arrogant guy nine-tailed fox doesn't care. Bai Yu found that, since the nine-tailed fox asked that question that day, he answered it himself. The nine-tailed fox's attitude towards him has changed a little. The speed of nine-tailed fox's recovery also made Bai Yu overjoyed. As time went by, there was no change, except that there was an extra nine-tailed fox wandering around the village. Life returned to the peace of the past. But nine-tailed fox has a hobby. That is eating desserts. Every day he would wait for the desserts brought back by Baki and Baiao at home. It's not that Kyuubi doesn't want to go out and eat by himself, but the owner of the dessert shop really doesn't sell it to Kyuubi. Kyuubi was so angry that he almost lost his temper, but with Bai Yu's suppression, Kyuubi snorted coldly and returned to Bai Yu's side. With the input of the Bai group's wealth, the restoration and construction of the East District was soon completed. Bai Yu returned to his new home. On the left was the Hatake family, and on the right was the Minato family. Bai Yu also spent a lot of money to rebuild the Senju ancestral house. However, when Bai Yu moved into his new home, Kyuubi's hard days came. When he was in the Naru family before, although Kyuubi's chakra was absorbed by Bai Yu from time to time, it was not so frequent. Since the reconstruction of the Bai Mansion, Bai Yu would absorb a certain amount of Kyuubi's chakra every day, which made Kyuubi's good impression on Bai Yu disappear instantly. Until one day, Kyuubi almost let Bai Yu suck it to death. Bai Yu realized that he seemed to have gone a little too far. Comforted Kyuubi, who was about to cry. Planned a scientific schedule for absorbing Kyuubi's chakra. This allowed the Ninetales to have some free and happy time again. Bai Yu has always been a recluse. If it weren't for Hatakes Akumo and Namikaze Minato coming to visit, or if Bai Yu's friends or disciples came to visit, they would think that Bai Yu was missing. Bai Yu is not idle every day, but is practicing every day. You must know that the huge knot of Helan Wushan is still in Bai Yu's heart. But it's Helan Wushan, Uchiha Madara, and the unknown guy next to the Pure Land. Bai Yu remembers them in his heart. If you want the life you imagine, you must have absolute strength to protect the life you want. And Bai Heiyo and Bai Ying are also growing up little by little. So Bai Yu, Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto can take time to play games again, and the relationship between husband and wife is not very dull, and there will be little romance occasionally. Bai Yu will also take time to accompany Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto to go shopping. Moreover, the relationship between Baiki and Uchiha Izumi, Baiyo and Uchiha Itachi is also growing day by day. Hyuga Hayashi also gave birth to a daughter named Hyuga Hinata. And one day, Uchiha Shizu also brought his girlfriend to visit Bai Yu. When Bai Yu saw Uchiha Shizu's girlfriend, he was also shocked. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 230, The Envoy from the Land of Thunder visits. Not only Bai Yu, but also Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto were shocked. Uchiha Shizu's mysterious girlfriend turned out to be Kato Shizune. Teacher, we are in love. Uchiha Shizu and Bai Yu sat face to face. Uchiha Shizu said with a blush. Kato Shizune next to Uchiha Shizu also blushed, looking at Tsunade, not daring to speak. Good boy, you are good. You have some tricks. You know, Shizune is a very picky kid. You actually tricked her. Come and tell me how you tricked her. Bai Yu said to Uchiha Shizu in a mean way. Bang. Hiss, it hurts. Bai Yu just finished speaking, and Tsunade hit the back of his head hard. Bai Yu rubbed the back of his head in pain. Shizune. Tsunade took out the demeanor that a teacher should have at this time and said seriously. Teacher. Teacher's wife. Uchiha Shizu and Kato Shizune hurriedly sat up and said in unison. As teachers, you and I will definitely support you. Since you two are together, let's be good. In the future, if you need anything in life, just tell your teacher. If Shizune or Shizu bullies you, come and tell me. I will beat up Shizu and his teacher together. Tsunade said domineeringly. Thank you, teacher. Kato Shizune said gratefully. Did you hear that? Tsunade glared at Uchiha Shizu and said unhappily. I heard it, master's wife. I will definitely treat Shizune well in the future. Uchiha Shizu said respectfully. After Uchiha Shizu and Kato Shizune left, Bai Yu couldn't help but sigh. Time flies so fast. The disciples have become independent ninjas without knowing it. They've all started dating. I miss Bai Yu, still so young and handsome. Haha. After listening to Bai Yu's first half, Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto also sighed in their hearts. But after hearing what Bai Yu said later, they curled their lips and ignored him, and went about their business. Tsunade, Mikoto. I want to discuss something with you two. After dinner, Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto coaxed Bai Heiyo and Bai Ying, who are 3 years old this year, to sleep. Bai Yu gently embraced the two girls and said softly, "What's the matter?" Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto asked in confusion. He didn't speak too loudly, for fear of disturbing the two children's sleep. This is what happened. I encountered a bottleneck in my practice. I have a hunch that, if I want to break through this time, it will probably take a long time. So I want to tell you too. After Bai Yu finished speaking, he looked at the two girls with red eyes and couldn't help but regret what he said. How long will it take? Tsunade asked. Where are we going? Uchiha Mikoto asked. Go to the sea, find a random island. It will take a few years. It's hard to say exactly. After I leave, I will let King Cheng come back to take charge of Konoha village. Bai Yu said helplessly. In fact, Bai Yu didn't want to leave, but according to the Dragon Clan's memory, there will be some strange phenomena when the dragon body is condensed. Moreover, Bai Yu was also afraid that He Lan Wushan would come again. Go to the spirit world! Exclamation mark. Suddenly, Bai Yu had an idea in his mind. Yes, if he went to the spirit world, even if He Lan Wushan went to the spirit world, he would not be able to find him after he left. No matter what kind of storm he could stir up in the spirit world, it had nothing to do with him. Moreover, after all, it was a different plane of space. There must be an existence that could restrain He Lan Wushan. After a few days, Bai Yu searched all the villages in the territory of the Fire Country before he found the trace of Bai King Cheng. It took a lot of talking to bring Bai King Cheng back to the village. It's not that Bai King Cheng won't go back to the village with Bai Yu, but Bai King Cheng also wants to go with Bai Yu to condense the dragon body. Bai King Cheng is also afraid that the black dragon Wushan will find Bai Yu. So, he wants to protect Bai Yu. Bai Yu's lips were almost worn out, and Bai King Cheng gave up. Originally, Bai Yu planned to have a reunion dinner after settling Bai King Cheng. But suddenly a ninja from the Anbu came and said that the envoys from the Lightning Country visiting the Fire Country had arrived, and Bai Yu was needed to attend the discussion. Okay, I know. I'll change my clothes and go. Bai Yu nodded and said. The Anbu ninja saluted Bai Yu and disappeared with the instant body technique. Come to Konoha at this time. What are the little Thunder Kids planning? Although Bai Yu was thinking in his heart, but he still changed into a new set of clothes with the help of Tsunade and Orochimaru. He glanced at Bai King Cheng, who was teaching Bai Qi and Bai Yao to practice spear and sword in the yard. Bai Yu and Bai King Cheng smiled and walked towards the Hokage building. Although Bai King Cheng is not good at swordsmanship and spearmanship, she has been with Bai Yu for so long, and according to Bai Yu's memory of training, it is more than enough to teach the two of them. Bai Yu came to the Hokage building and went straight to the reception room. Bai Yu simply flattered the envoy of the Land of Lightning for a few words, and then sat in his seat without saying a word. Listening to Minato, Namikaze and Shikaku Nara talking to the two guys, Bai Yu suddenly felt that it was a mistake to come here. It was a waste of time. But it would be better to go into seclusion and tell Minato Namikaze. Finally, when Bai Yu was about to collapse, the meeting ended. Bai Yu gestured to Minato Namikaze. Minato Namikaze immediately understood. What's wrong, you? What's the matter? Minato Namikaze asked. Well, my strength is about to break through, and I need to be in seclusion for a while. Bai Yu said with a smile. This is a good thing. Congratulations. How long will it take? Minato Namikaze also said with a smile. It will probably take a few years. Bai Yu said helplessly. So long? Minato Namikaze said in surprise. It's quite critical, so it will take a long time. Bai Yu said helplessly. Okay then. But wait until the envoy of the Land of Lightning leaves before you set off. Don't let other villagers know that you are not in Konoha. Namikaze Minato knew that the villagers were afraid of Bai Yu's power, so they dared not act rashly. Once the news of Bai Yu's absence spread, the four villagers would unite again to fight against Konoha. Although Konoha could resist, the prosperous Konoha that had developed with great difficulty would suffer from the war again. Don't worry, King Cheng will be in Konoha. Bai Yu said with a smile. Haha, that's good. I still believe in King Cheng's strength. You know, your position in Konoha is even more important than the tailed beasts. Namikaze Minato was relieved and said with a smile. Although Bai King Cheng's power was not as good as Bai Yu's, it was not much worse. After chatting with Namikaze Minato for a while, Bai Yu went home and refused the dinner with the envoy of the Land of Lightning. Bai Yu wished to stay away from those talkative guys. Namikaze Minato knew Bai Yu's character and smiled and said nothing. The moment Bai Yu walked out of the Hokage building, he suddenly felt comfortable in the world. These guys are really too slow. This guy, you praise me, I praise you, and praise each other. It's so fake. It's faker than the gold necklace on the neck of the eldest brother. Bai Yu walked leisurely on the streets of Konoha. The tranquility of the night was really comfortable. Swoosh, swoosh. 3 figures, one in front and one behind, passed by not far from Bai Yu. 2 people in front, and 1 person in the back. Bai Yu raised his eyebrows, thinking it was interesting, so he chased after them quietly. Chapter 231 The Messenger of Minato. Bai Yu followed quietly from behind, and always felt that the person chasing behind was very familiar. The long hair was fluttering, plus the ferocious meridians next to the eyes. Hey, is this guy Hyuga Hayashi? Bai Yu thought to himself with ease. Then Bai Yu looked at the two guys in front of him. Huh? Why is there a child on his shoulder? Oh my god. Isn't this Hyuga Hinata? No wonder Hyuga Hayashi is chasing so hard. Looking at the two guys in front of him again, they are two of the people from the country of thunder today. Seeing this, Bai Yu instantly understood what was going on. Hyuga Hinata was still young and had not sealed her Byakugan. No wonder she came to Konoha to visit for no reason. If she was so attentive, she must be a traitor or a thief. It turned out to be for the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan. But Bai Yu did not take action, but followed behind. It was obviously a gang crime, and Bai Yu thought about being the Oriole. In case of any sudden incident, he would take action himself. Soon they left Konoha village, and the two ninjas from the country of thunder also stopped. Hyuga Hayashi also stopped, and did not act rashly. After all, Hyuga Hinata was still in their hands. Hyuga Hayashi also regretted in his heart. If he had not let Hinata play outside until late today, she would not have been caught. Fortunately, Uzumaki Naruto came to tell him, so that he could catch up. If he didn't know this, Hyuga Hayashi simply couldn't believe it. If such a young child was poisoned, Hyuga Hayashi, as a father, would be miserable. Why did you Cloud Ninjas do such a thing? Aren't you afraid that Konoha will investigate? Hyuga Hayashi said with a serious face. Haha. How funny. Where is this place? We are envoys visiting the land of fire. If we are killed here, I'm afraid that Konoha will trigger a war between the two countries because of you Hyuga clan. Cloud Ninja Ray said with a fearless smile. Besides, what evidence do you have to prove that it was the Cloud Ninja who robbed your Hyuga Hayashi clan members? It's really hard to get information about your Hyuga Hayashi. If we hadn't met this kid by chance, we wouldn't have known that there were still clan members in the Hyuga clan who hadn't been sealed. Cloud Ninja B also said easily. Humph, it's also a burden to bring this kid with you. Dig out your Byakugan now. The cruel tone of Cloud Ninja A made Hyuga Hayashi feel angry. Seeing this, Cloud Ninja A put Hyuga Hinata on the ground, took out a glass bottle filled with liquid, and was about to harm Hyuga Hinata. Hyuga Hayashi's brain was immediately filled with blood. What a bullshit messenger. War. None of them are more important than my child. Save her first, then talk. Hyuga Hayashi, with a body flash technique, came to the two ninjas. Hyuga Hayashi did not choose to attack, but very rationally took advantage of the two ninjas not reacting, and picked up Hyuga Hinata. The two ninjas, seeing this, were anxious. A punch and a kick hit Hyuga Hayashi. The angle of attack was very tricky. The two sinister Cloud Ninjas were thinking, this time it depends on whether you take it head on or run away. However, the two ninjas probably didn't expect that the kid they caught was Hyuga Hayashi's child. Hyuga Hayashi didn't even think about it and twisted his body flexibly, using his back to take the two attacks. Then he put Hyuga Hinata aside, a relatively safe place. Hyuga Hayashi looked at the unconscious Hyuga Hinata and smiled kindly. He turned around. As he turned around, his face changed from kind to murderous. Hyuga Hayashi knew that only by getting rid of the two guys would there be a chance to avoid a war without using this matter as an excuse. The faces of the two ninjas also changed, but the two ninjas firmly believed that Hyuga Hayashi would not dare to kill him, because the Cloud Ninjas still had ninjas to support them. Die for me. Soft fist. 8 trigrams empty palm. In order to avoid any trouble, and not delaying for too long, fearing any accidents, Hyuga Hayashi chose to kill them directly. The two men panicked when they saw this. They didn't expect that Hyuga Hayashi really wanted to kill them. After a few moves, Hyuga Hayashi killed two Cloud Ninjas with his own hands. When Hyuga Hayashi wanted to clean up the two bodies, something strange happened. The Cloud Ninjas who were supposed to pick up the two arrived. Hyuga Hayashi glanced at them, and when there was still some distance, he picked up Hyuga Hinata and was about to run. At this time, Bai Yu suddenly appeared beside Hyuga Hinata. Hyuga Hayashi was so scared that he thought someone was going to snatch Hyuga Hinata again. Hyuga Hayashi was so anxious that he even forgot that he had his Byakugan open. No wonder the father was not anxious when he saw his child was in danger. A retrogram's empty palm chopped towards Bai Yu. Hayashi, are you sick? It's me. Bai Yu hugged Hyuga Hinata and quickly dodged Hyuga Hayashi's attack, cursing angrily. You? Sorry. I was just anxious. Hyuga Hayashi saw Bai Yu's face clearly and apologized. It's okay. I can understand. Bai Yu waved his hand and said indifferently. I'm sorry, they stole my child. I had no choice but to kill them. I will apologize. When Hyuga Hayashi saw Bai Yu appear here, he sighed in his heart. The situation was set. For Konoha, for the Hyuga clan, he could only choose to apologize. After Hyuga Hayashi finished speaking, he had to understand himself. You idiot. It's obviously them who touched our Konoha people. I'm not blind. When you chased them, I followed behind. Bai Yu said quickly. But, they are the envoys of the Land of Thunder after all. You know, the identity of the envoy is very important. When fighting, the two countries will not kill the envoys. This matter may cause a war between the two countries. Hyuga Hayashi said with a frown. No, Hayashi, you are anxious and your eyes are not working well, and you even hit me. Forget it. I understand that you are anxious. But we can't even have bad brains. Bai Yu said earnestly. Hyuga Hayashi felt a little embarrassed when he heard Bai Yu's words. After all, he almost hit Bai Yu just now. Then what do you say we should do? Hyuga Hayashi asked. It's okay. I'm here. Don't worry. Okay, here we come. As soon as Bai Yu finished speaking, several cloud ninjas appeared next to him. The cloud ninja gang committed a crime. Seeing this scene, they naturally knew what was going on. The action failed, but they are not panicking. After all, they are called envoys. One of them, a ninja that Bai Yu had seen before, was called Murabnoko. Well, it's probably this name. Murabnoko said loudly. Master Bai Yu, please give me a reasonable explanation. What is going on? Why did you kill the envoy of my country of thunder? Bai Yu was happy when he heard it. The bandit spirit hidden in his body suddenly emerged. Noko, don't beep. Stand still. Hey, don't touch the body. Believe it or not, if you take another step forward, I will break one of your legs. After Bai Yu finished talking to Murabnoko, he noticed that he gave a look to a ninja next to him. The ninja was about to touch the bodies of the two dead cloud ninjas. Master Bai Yu, what do you mean? Can't we collect the bodies of our compatriots? After Murabnoko finished speaking, he also signaled the ninja not to move. After all, they knew Bai Yu's reputation for being vicious. Chapter 232. Namikaze Minato arrives. Wait a minute before collecting it. It won't get worse if we let it go for a while. Everyone stand still. Hayashi, go call the leader of the envoy group and Minato. I'll be waiting here. I'm going to die. Bai Yu said domineeringly, but just after he asked Hyuga Hayashi to call people, Murasaki Noko quickly gave a look to a ninja next to him. A ninja next to him was about to take the glass bottle full of liquid in the corpse's hand. How could Bai Yu let him go? He took the unconscious Hyuga Hinata with his left hand and waved his right hand to send two purple sword energies. One sword cut off the hands of the ninja who was looking for death, and the other cut off his legs. Ah! A scream came out of the ninja's mouth. Lord Bai Yu, please give me a reasonable explanation. Why did you kill our compatriots? Not only did you not allow us to collect the bodies of our compatriots, but you also wanted to harm our envoys from the Land of Lightning. If there is no reasonable explanation, I will report this matter in full to Lord Drakeage and the daimyo of the Land of Lightning. Murabnoko said righteously. No matter what, he knew that he had to occupy the righteous position, so that his words would have weight. Believe it or not, I will kill all of you here with a shake of my hand. Don't beep, do you hear me? Stand still. Hayashi, hurry up, I'm here, don't worry. If you don't listen, I'll chop you all off. I'll hold Hinata first, otherwise, these guys won't have any other words. Bai Yu's murderous aura slowly emanated from his body, and that threat frightened the envoys of the Cloud Ninja. Hyuga Hayashi nodded, feeling relieved, and then looked at Bai Yu with a complicated look. He knew that if Bai Yu hadn't appeared, he would have to face the problem of committing suicide today. After all, judging from the situation, whether the Hokage was Minato Namikaze or not, he would not allow a war to start. Hyuga Hayashi left quickly and ran back to the village. Seeing Hyuga Hayashi's actions, Mirabnoko felt cold in her heart and was about to take action. But who is Bai Yu? He would naturally be aware of it. Divine spell. Trapped array. Bai Yu made a prompt decision, with his right sword finger erected in front of his face, and the divine spell was cast. In the dark, a mysterious power came from the spirit world, covering the surroundings, and a looming barrier appeared invisibly. After Bai Yu finished casting, he thought to himself, "Anoko, you are still too young." Bai Yu looked at these cloud ninjas with serious faces and a little panic with disdain. He didn't say anything, but the gradually thick murderous aura in the field made them more and more uneasy. But this Mirabnoko is also a small figure. Seeing the barrier looming around him, he immediately asked in a deep voice, "Master Bai Yu, what does this mean? Please give me an explanation." "Explanation? What explanation do you want me to give you?" Bai Yu said coldly. "It's this series of things. Please give me an explanation, Master Bai Yu," said Mirabnoko. Bai Yu snorted twice in a cold voice. "My explanation to you is, don't move, don't talk, or I will kill you. Is this explanation enough?" Bai Yu said coldly. "Master Bai Yu." Before Mirabnoko finished speaking, a purple light flashed in the barrier. Ugh, ah. Mirabnoko covered her mouth with blood, collapsed on the ground, and groaned in pain. "I told you not to bet. But you didn't listen." Bai Yu said disdainfully, and couldn't help but think of himself in the past, the strength of a Chunin, and that old thief Danzo actually sent a Jonin to kill him. If it weren't for Hatake Tsukumo, he probably wouldn't be here today. Murasaki looked at Bai Yu with resentment, and the ninja next to him hurried over to check. He was a medical ninja, but he was also frightened by Murasaki's injuries. The tongue was gone. The gums were all crushed. Murasaki opened her mouth, and all the blood flowed out. The medical ninja also tried to stop the bleeding for Murasaki, suppressing his inner discomfort. This time, everyone was honest. No one was talking, and they stood there quietly. They were afraid that Bai Yu, the damned one, would give them a blow. However, Bai Yu was very disdainful of this small scene. You know, this small scene is much gentler than the battlefield. After a while, Hyuga Hayashi came with Namikaze Minato and the messenger leader of the Land of Lightning, Zenting Shark. "I'm telling you, be quiet, don't move, otherwise, you'll all be killed," Bai Yu warned coldly, and then removed the barrier. Namikaze Minato had just returned home from the dinner, and before he could talk to Kushina, Hyuga Hayashi ran over and said there was an emergency. Namikaze Minato quickly apologized to Kushina and followed Hyuga Hayashi. However, Namikaze Minato was also surprised to see this situation. Originally, Namikaze Minato's brain circuit thought of war, but when he saw Bai Yu, he was immediately confused. Seeing this situation, Zenting Shark B naturally knew what was going on. He knew that the Hyuga clan members were kidnapped, and the Byakugan was obtained. But Zenting Shark B was also a drama queen. Oh my god. Poor ninjas of my Cloud Ninja village. They sacrificed in a foreign country, being ruthlessly killed. What happened to you, Noko? You can't get into trouble. You know, you are all elites of our Cloud Ninja village. Zenting Shark B pretended to cry and wiped his tears and came to Noko's side, asking about her well-being. Seeing Noko's mouth, Zenting Shark B was also shocked. Noko's mouth quickly pointed to the two corpses. Zenting Shark B saw the two corpses and noticed the container that was prepared to hold the Byakugan. His eyes changed implicitly. Damn it. Who is it that is killing our compatriots? Heroes. Don't worry, Lord Hokage. Lord Bai Yu and the brothers will avenge you. Zenting Shabi shouted in extreme sorrow, and then he was about to move closer. Minato Namikaze saw Zenting Shabi's performance, and he was soft-hearted and kind-hearted, and he was immediately infected, and there was a burst of pity in his eyes. But Bai Yu was not so kind. "Hey, do you believe that, if you get closer to the corpse, I will cut you into a human stick?" Bai Yu said softly with murderous intent. The chill in his words went straight into Zenting Shabi's heart. Zenting Shabby stopped and dared not move forward, but Zenting Shabby could not retreat either. Zenting Shabby was also a talent. With his sharp eyes, he saw the ninja whose hands and legs were cut off by Bai Yu, and he had fainted due to excessive blood loss. He pretended to be shocked. He shouted Jiro and moved closer. He shook Jiro's body vigorously and cried out sadly, "Jiro, who did it? Who is so cruel?" Seeing this, Minato Namikaze couldn't help it. He was kind-hearted and felt that it was his fault, so he wanted to express his opinion. But by chance, the ninja was actually awakened by Zenting Shark B. The following words made Minato Namikaze swallow what he was about to say. Chapter 233 Bai Yu is gone. Lord Shark. It's him. It's him. He made me like this. You have to take charge of me. I'm done. My second half of life is over. Jiro pointed at Bai Yu and shouted with hatred. Tears of resentment flashed in his eyes. Namikaze Minato immediately looked at Bai Yu with a puzzled look. Bai Yu made two rapid bird calls. Namikaze Minato was immediately relieved, waiting for Bai Yu's performance with an expressionless face. Namikaze Minato was in charge of the dragon group, so he naturally knew the secret code of the dragon group. Bai Yu's secret code just now was "watch me, just keep a straight face." Why? Why do you do this to us? We are just expressing our friendship to Konoha. Why are you harming us? Now Zenting Shark has the confidence. With a face full of anger, he came to Bai Yu and questioned. "Stop acting. Brother, I advise you. Be quiet. I know what you are up to. If I were you, I would just leave it at that. I know some things very well, and I can pretend that nothing has happened. Go back to your Kumogakya. Really? Don't make anything unpleasant." Bai Yu said earnestly. "Oh my god. What on earth do you think, Bai Yu? The elites of my Kumogakya were killed in Konoha. Let's not talk about who the murderer is. You people from Konoha hurt my envoy of the Land of Thunder. This is not a trivial matter. You must give me a satisfactory answer, otherwise, you can wait for me to go back and wait for the two countries to go to war." Zenting Shabby said righteously, relying on his own righteousness. Bai Yu looked at the sky, smiled playfully, and rubbed his temple. He squinted at Zenting Shabby. "You are quite interesting, kid. The corpse lying on the ground was also killed by me. I'll tell you tomorrow. What else do you want to say? I'm listening." Bai Yu said disdainfully. When Zenting Shabby heard this, he couldn't help but smile in his heart. Bai Yu is really a reckless man. He didn't have any brains at all. He smiled in his heart and said to Minato Namikaze indignantly, "Did you hear it? Lord Hokage, I hope your village will give me a satisfactory answer to this matter, otherwise." Before he finished speaking, Bai Yu interrupted him domineeringly and said, "Otherwise? What?" Bai Yu looked at Zenting Shabby arrogantly and said, "Otherwise, you can wait for the two countries to go to war." Zenting Shabby said toughly, "Minato, go to the body, pick up the container, and see what the liquid inside is used for." Bai Yu ignored that Shabby and said to Minato Namikaze. Minato Namikaze nodded and flashed to the side of the body without waiting for the Cloud Ninja to make any move. He picked up the glass bottle and began to check it. After checking for a while, he looked at Hyuga Hinata in Bai Yu's arms. A trace of anger flashed in his eyes. Namikaze Minato understood what was going on instantly and looked at Hyuga Hayashi, who was speculating and feeling uneasy. Hyuga Hayashi looked at Namikaze Minato, and Namikaze Minato looked at him and gave him a reassuring look. Hyuga Hayashi immediately felt relieved. Then Namikaze Minato closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and then exhaled slowly. If a war breaks out, can the consortium support Konoha?" Namikaze Minato thought that, if a war breaks out, it might be another battle against the four villages, and asked slowly, "If there is a war, my Bai family will definitely help." Bai Yu said in a murderous voice. "Do you want to give Konoha an explanation for this matter?" Namikaze Minato also said in a deep voice with the power of a Hokage. Zenting Shark B's eyes turned, and a glimmer of cunning flashed in his eyes, and he was about to make an excuse. Bai Yu narrowed his eyes and said calmly, "What's the point of explaining this? Kill all these guys, and then I'll go to the Land of Lightning for a visit. Let's see who dares to come to my Konoha to cause trouble." After that, he walked forward slowly, with a menacing aura looming on his body. Zenting Shabby choked on what he was about to say and hurriedly said, "Sorry, Lord Hokage, I was too anxious. Can you let me see this bottle?" Namikaze Minato handed the bottle to Zenting Shabby with murderous intent. Zenting Shabby pretended to check it out, but in fact he was thinking about Bai Yu's words about going to the Land of Lightning. This sentence is better than going to war. If Bai Yu really came for a visit, Konoha could completely distance itself from Konoha on the grounds that Bai Yu had betrayed the village. With Bai Yu's strength, it would undoubtedly be a natural disaster for the Land of Lightning. After weighing the pros and cons, Zenting Shabby said, "Hokage-sama, rest assured, I will find out about this matter and give you an explanation as soon as possible, little Shabby. Otherwise, you will stay in Konoha as a guest forever. I, Bai Yu, am very hospitable." Although Bai Yu was smiling, the hidden murderer saw a frightened Zenting Shabby. Namikaze Minato did not speak. Zenting Shabby quickly collected the bodies and took the two wounded back to his residence. "Hayashi, don't take your daughter away. My arms are sore." I'm still standing there, and Shabby is gone. Bai Yu smiled and said to Hyuga Hayashi, who was silently grateful, "Hokage-sama, Bai Yu-sama. I, Hyuga Hayashi, am very grateful." Hyuga Hayashi took Hyuga Hinata and bowed to Namikaze Minato very solemnly. "It's useless. We are all brothers. Why say this?" Bai Yu said proudly. "It's too light." Did you bring a shovel?" Namikaze Minato suddenly sighed and said. Bai Yu understood instantly and sighed, saying, "How about I pick one? It's really bland." Hyuga Hayashi looked at the two of them ambiguously, not knowing what to say. Bai Yu and Namikaze Minato smiled at each other. Then he explained to Hyuga Hayashi. Hyuga Hayashi finally understood and laughed twice. Then Hyuga Hayashi invited the three of them to go drink. Bai Yu and Namikaze Minato didn't go home until very late. That night, Zenting Shabby left a letter for Namikaze Minato and left Konoha village overnight. He was afraid that he would not be able to leave if he didn't leave. Bai Yu was simply too scary. The next morning, Bai Yu came to the Hokage's office to say goodbye and saw the letter and smiled disdainfully. "Minato, you are still so kind. If you want me, just don't leave. Stay in Konoha forever." Bai Yu looked at Namikaze Minato and said. The long and stinky words on the letter made Bai Yu helpless. The general meaning was that he was the person in charge of the envoy and failed to fulfill his duty. The two dead ninjas secretly kidnapped the members of the Hyuga clan. He was deeply sorry. The two ninjas had been killed by Bai Yu, and there were two innocent ninjas who suffered Bai Yu's punishment. He hoped that the matter would be dropped, etc. All the people who came here are small people. There is no point in killing them. So be it. There is no loss. I don't know when you will come back after you leave. Namikaze Minato said slightly sadly beside Bai Yu. "Okay, I'm not coming back. If you don't come back, you can cry for me. Haha." Bai Yu said casually. Namikaze Minato hammered Bai Yu's shoulder and smiled without saying anything. For a long time. "Come back soon," Namikaze Minato said. But there was no response. Because Namikaze Minato noticed the disappearance of Bai Yu's figure, he blurted out this sentence. Namikaze Minato sighed and returned to his desk to continue working. Bai Yu flew away from the village, glanced at Konoha village, and the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Then he flew away. Chapter 234 The Summons of the Six Paths Sage. After flying for a while, Bai Yu slapped his thigh and hurriedly flew back to the Dragon Group base. After a while, Bai Yu flew away again, looking at the cold quench double-edged sword on his waist like a dragon's spine with satisfaction. This sword has been made a long time ago, but it has never been used, and Bai Yu is too lazy to take it. This sword can be said to be made of the top materials in the ninja world. It's pleasing to look at. However, it is the top existence in the ninja world, but for Bai Yu, there are still the last two steps. The first step is to find a powerful summoning beast, take its spirit, cast the sword soul, and use blood and sweat to quench the spirit sword. This is the method of casting the spirit sword that Bai Yu found after recalling the classics he had read countless times in his previous life. In this case, Bai Yu smiled at the corner of his mouth, and the Teikai pattern hidden deep in his pupils gradually enlarged. The powerful yin and yang power, like radio waves, explores this world. In an instant, between heaven and earth, pictures, like slides, appeared in Bai Yu's mind. Bai Yu saw a variety of spirits. This is the spirit world. Because Bai Yu saw the guy with a knife in his mouth, Bai Yu had provoked him before. After a while, Bai Yu saw a dark world, where souls were alone in this dark world, with only a dim oil lamp. Not far away, there was a huge wheel slowly turning, and from time to time a soul would disappear in the dark world, and fall into the wheel. 6 paths of reincarnation? Is this the Pure Land? The picture flashed, and another picture appeared in Bai Yu's mind. This time, the picture scared Bai Yu. An old man with a pair of feet on his head and 3 eyes. Who is this guy? But the next second, Bai Yu felt a strong suction. It was going to suck him to another place. The more Bai Yu resisted, the stronger the suction. Bai Yu even turned on his sage mode to barely resist the suction, but the chakra was consumed at an unprecedented rate. Don't resist, young man. An old voice sounded in Bai Yu, but the voice was a little weird. It made Bai Yu feel weird. Instead of waiting for his energy to run out, it is better to save some strength and see what happens next. So, Bai Yu did not resist. Let the suction force drive him. Bai Yu's eyes went dark in an instant, and then a beam of light lit up in front of him. The old man he just saw was right in front of him. Bai Yu looked at the old man in front of him, and he clearly felt a looming pressure, but he couldn't feel his strength. This made Bai Yu's heart sink. If he fought, he might not be his opponent. Bai Yu waited for 2 Dharma Eyes, staring at the old man, with a trace of vigilance on his face. Unexpectedly, the old man closed his eyes and thought for a while. Then he opened his eyes and said slowly, "Young man, you are very interesting. I just felt what happened in the ninja world. According to your way of speaking, you have robbed me of so many jobs. What are you afraid of?" The old man said with a smile. Hearing this, Bai Yu's eyes widened. You. Bai Yu pointed at the old man for a long time without saying what was in his heart. Well, that's right. According to your understanding of me, I'm the 6 Paths Sage. However, I have a name, Otsutsuki Hagoromo. These eyes are very interesting. The old man smiled and looked at Bai Yu's eyes, and said slowly, "Old man, I don't care which way you are. What do you want to do? Give me a word." Bai Yu was afraid that the old man would fight with him. After all, takes Akumo, Kushina, etc. He collected a lot of souls and resurrected them. I called you here, not to pursue you. But I have something to tell you, young man. The 6 Paths Sage said with a serious face. Old man, tell me what you want to say. Bai Yu breathed a sigh of relief and said casually. The 6 Paths Sage was not angry because of Bai Yu's words, but slowly told the original appearance of the ninja world in the things of his Otsutsuki clan. Young man, I can't see through you. I don't know the details, but I can feel that you are a variable in this world. I hope that in the future, if a disaster happens in the ninja world, you can take action and save this world. The 6 Paths Sage said very seriously. However, Bai Yu did not answer the 6 Paths Sage immediately, but absorbed what the 6 Paths Sage had just said. What the hell is Otsutsuki Hamura? What Otsutsuki Kaguya? The Uchiha clan and the Hyuga clan are branches of the Otsutsuki clan. What the hell is that Kaguya clan? Pulling out your own bones. Well, I killed a lot of them during the war. But those guys are really cruel. When they get angry, they pull out their own bones. What does this have to do with me? I don't care, as long as the people I care about are fine. What does the life and death of others have to do with me? Bai Yu finished absorbing it, looking at the 6 Paths Sage, and said with a pout. If my mother reappears, it will undoubtedly be a disaster for this world, including the people you care about, will be persecuted. The 6 Paths Sage said calmly. Bai Yu frowned when he heard this and didn't speak. After a long time, old man, don't do that empty thing. It's impossible to make me work for nothing. Give me some substantial benefits. Bai Yu looked at the 6 Paths Sage and put on a face of a street villain. Your path is different from mine. I can only give you my own understanding of the power of yin and yang. I hope you can help save the world. The 6 Paths Sage looked at Bai Yu with sincerity in his eyes. Bai Yu was embarrassed. Okay. Give it to me. Bai Yu touched his nose awkwardly and said calmly. Come here. The 6 Paths Sage said. Bai Yu walked over. The Six Paths Sage summoned with his right hand, and a black tin staff appeared in his hand. He tapped Bai Yu's forehead. Tick-tock. The sound of a drop of water falling into the water sounded faintly. An inexplicable power instantly surged into Bai Yu's mind. This power rippled in Bai Yu's mind, and was gradually absorbed by Bai Yu. Bai Yu closed his eyes. When Bai Yu opened his eyes again, Bai Yu almost choked to death. Bai Yu remembered that when he went to the Six Paths, he was in the air and there was the sea below. When Bai Yu opened his eyes, he found himself in the sea, still sinking. He opened his mouth carelessly, and a mouthful of sea water poured into his mouth. It was so salty! Bai Yu quickly activated the chakra in his body, flew out of the water, floated in the air, quickly evaporated the water on his body, and breathed in big gulps of air. But something embarrassing happened. Bai Yu became a white salted fish. The white salt spread a thick layer on Bai Yu's clothes. Bai Yu sensed the land closest to him, and flew over without hesitation. What enlightenment! What finding a spiritual beast! Quickly getting rid of the identity of a salted fish is the most important thing. Chapter 235 The Fifth Mizukage Mediterome. Bai Yu flew to the shore. No matter where this place is, he found a mountain, and hid in the cave. This mountain, with green mountains, green water and misty feeling, really has a fairyland feeling. It would be even better if it was a sunny day. But Bai Yu didn't care about these, and started to clean himself directly. First, he used the chakra attribute conversion to condense a ball of water to clean himself, and then condensed a ball of fire to evaporate the moisture on his body. The next step is clothes. After finishing, Bai Yu had to sigh. That salt bath is comfortable. The clothes are also warm and comfortable. However, the perceptions of the Six Paths in his mind have not been fully mastered. Bai Yu's heart is like grass, and he feels uncomfortable if he doesn't master it. Use the newly made Bai Yu sword. Well, Bai Yu is too lazy to come up with the name. In the cave, cut out a stone bed directly and sit cross-legged. Begin to absorb the perception given to him by the Six Paths. Konoha village Baifu. Mom, Makoto mom. When will daddy come back? Bai Yu ran to Tsunade and asked after playing with her sister Bai Ying and brother Bai Yu for a while. Your daddy is out doing something very important. Mom doesn't know when he will come back. Tsunade's eyes flashed with a trace of longing, and she touched Bai Yu's head and said, "Then daddy won't come back?" Bai Yu said sadly, "Of course he will come back. Your dad told me before he left. He will definitely come back. Don't worry," Tsunade said with a smile. "Okay then," Bai Yu said, and then ran to play with Bai Ying and Bai Yu. "Sister, you said that my husband left, and my heart is really sad." Uchiha Makoto sat next to Tsunade and said with emotion, "Me too. When Jinga and Heio go to the ninja school, if my husband doesn't come back, let's find something to do. Otherwise, it will be sad to death," Tsunade said with a wry smile. Uchiha Makoto nodded without saying anything, looking at the four children playing in the yard. Baking Cheng puffed her face and sat in a corner of the yard unhappily. The reason is simple. After Baking Cheng returned to Konoha, she would either discuss village affairs with Minato Namikaze, or teach Baki and Bai Yu to practice swordsmanship and spearmanship, or go online, chat with netizens. Yesterday, she tried to persuade Tsunade to go to the casino, but failed. You know, Tsunade used to be such a gambler. She failed. This was a big blow to Baking Cheng. Fortunately, Baking Cheng still has something to look forward to. That is, she heard that Lanteng Technology is going to make a large-scale online game. Baking Cheng couldn't help but look forward to this, hoping to have some fun. Otherwise, humph, I will freeze your Bay group building. On the other hand, although the purpose of the Lightning Country's visit to the Fire Country's delegation was not pure, they still had to visit the name of the Fire Country, then return to the Lightning Country. After the fourth Reikage learned about the delegation's visit to the Fire Country, he was so angry that he swung his fist as big as a casserole directly on the desk, and the poor desk broke into pieces. Damn Bai Yu. Damn Huoing. The dark skin makes the protruding white teeth look even whiter. Yo, what should we do next? Bakayaluo, crying Yalu. Yahoo. Killer Bee on the side is still rapping in the same weird way as before. Damn it. AI did not answer Killer B, but walked angrily to the wall next to him. Bang, accompanied by a sound. The 4th generation Reikage AI punched a hole in the wall and then broke out of the hole. Yo yo. Little Yi, come alive. Back Yaluo, crying Yalu. Killer B said, pointing his 2 fingers at the human-shaped hole in the wall. Then he turned around and looked at a female ninja with dark skin, red hair, and a decent figure behind him. This female ninja is Killer B's apprentice, named Karu. Karu covered his forehead helplessly, sighed, and then skillfully found someone to repair the wall. Mizuki's office. A mist ninja pushed open the door in a hurry and came in and said, Mizuki-sama, I just got the information that someone flew to a mountain on the east coast. It is suspected to be a ninja from another village. Oh. In the ninja world today, there are only a handful of ninjas with the ability to fly. The 4th Kazakage Rata, the 3rd Tsuchikage Inoki, the Konoha elder Bai Yu, and the Konoha elder Bai Yu's sister Bai King-cheng. Who is it? I hope it's Bai Yu. I heard that he looks very charming. A lazy, mature, and charming girl came from behind the back of the chair at the end of the desk. The office chair slowly turned around. Emerald green eyes, brown long curly hair, a blue low-cut long skirt, and a figure that makes people swallow their saliva. She is the 5th Mizukage Terumi Medi who ended the blood mist policy. Terumi Medi had a gentle smile on her lips, and her right hand was supporting her fragrant cheek. She looked at the ninja who came in lazily. Okay, I'm really looking forward to it. Then I'll go there myself. Medi Terumi said gently, and then she walked to the side of the ninja with lotus steps. Thank you for your hard work. Go and do your work. I'll go there myself. Medi Terumi said softly. Yes. The ninja said hurriedly, and the figure disappeared. Who is it? Medi Terumi covered her lips sexy and smiled, and the figure disappeared. I don't know how long it took. Bai Yu woke up from the state of practice. I have to say, this old man has a lot of insights. He has mastered it so seriously, but he has only mastered 1/5. TSK. Although it's okay not to eat, I always feel that something is missing if I don't eat something. Bai Yu rubbed his stomach with a hint of unruly smile and said to himself, as if there were many listeners around him. Bai Yu tidied his clothes and casually put his left hand on the Bai Yu sword, like a ronin, wandering in the woods, looking for prey to satisfy their hunger. No. Haha. Brothers. I didn't expect this village to be so rich. Damn bandits. You all deserve to die. Haha. Damn, I really deserve to die. But you can't kill me. In despair, be killed by me. Ugh. Ah. As soon as Bai Yu walked down the mountain, he heard shouts and screams from a long distance, and the black smoke rising into the sky. Against the backdrop of the darkening sky, the fire was so conspicuous. I didn't expect such a thing to happen in peacetime. Although Bai Yu said this, he felt a sense of emotion in his heart. Thinking back then, it was because he saw injustice and drew his sword to help a village, to solve the bandits and robbers, that he met Tsunade. In that case, then I'll help this poor village. Bai Yu casually put his right hand on the hilt of the sword, and his figure gradually disappeared. Exclamation mark. Chapter 236 100 cylinder engine. It's really miserable. Bai Yu floated above the village and looked down. A trace of murderous intent flashed in his eyes. You said you have hands and feet, but you have to rob houses. If you go to rob the rich to help the poor, I won't say anything. You don't even let the civilians go. It's really hateful. Bai Yu dodged and drew out the Bai Yu sword at his waist. A purple light flashed, and a robber's head fell to the ground. There were many robbers, and Bai Yu started mowing mode. He harvested the lives of the robbers unilaterally, but he didn't know that a beautiful figure mixed in with the villagers. This figure playfully took out a pair of earrings from the small bag behind her back and put them on her ears. Then she took out a fog ninja forehead protector and tied it on her arm. At first glance, it was nothing, but if you feel it carefully, you will find that this pair of earrings concealed the breath of this figure a lot. Just when Bai Yu was bored and unilaterally harvesting, a delicate sound was heard from behind. Water escape, water wave. Bai Yu looked back curiously. A woman who was about the same age as Uchiha Makoto formed a seal at a fast speed and then released a ninjutsu that was not very powerful and could only repel people, and then her breathing was a little short. but this woman was wearing a low cut dress, fishnet stockings, and ninja sandals. Ahem. LSPs always look down and then look at the face. This woman has a small mouth, green eyes, and brown hair. Brothers, I didn't expect that there is such a beautiful and powerful female ninja in this village. It seems that we can do it tonight. Ha 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 ha. A robber saw the woman, his face showed wolf-light, and he shouted arrogantly. Unfortunately, he was handsome for only 3 seconds. Bai Yu appeared silently beside the robber. If you say another word, I guarantee that you will never be able to speak, Bai Yu said with a smile. The robber heard Bai Yu's words. Suddenly, he was furious. Just as he was about to open his mouth to speak, a stream of heat spurted out of his neck. Red blood splashed on Bai Yu's cheek. The fair face, beautiful and charming, looks so charming against the background of the bloodstains. For a moment, the woman looked at Bai Yu with a little obsession. This woman is Meditarumi, and she has recognized that it is Bai Yu. But Bai Yu did not recognize her, not because Bai Yu is ZZ. It's because Bai Yu doesn't care about these things at all. Bai Yu never looks at such unimportant information. He throws the information to Uchiha Genji and proudly acts as a hands-off shopkeeper. Mist Ninja, I didn't expect that I would come to the Mist Ninja village by mistake. Bai Yu saw the forehead protector on Meditarumi's arm and thought to himself, isn't the blood mist policy over? Why is the public security still so bad? Bai Yu thought of the information collected by Uchiha Genji before and couldn't help but say it again in his heart. With the help of Meditarumi, Bai Yu killed all the robbers alone. While the villagers were not paying attention, Bai Yu quietly left. Meditarumi was left alone to deal with the grateful villagers. Meditarumi was so angry that she chopped her feet a few times on the spot, but she still dealt with the villagers who expressed their gratitude gently. Bai Yu held a water ball in his left hand and washed his face. Fortunately, the blood did not get on his clothes. Just as Bai Yu was leisurely looking for prey, Terumi Medi caught up with him. Bai Yu put his right hand on his waist and said uninhibitedly, "Girl, what's the matter? Well, why did you run away by yourself? You didn't do anything bad." Terumi Medi's sexy voice made Bai Yu tremble all over. It's just a robbery. It's not a big deal. There's no need, Bai Yu said with a smile. Terumi Medi couldn't help but smile in her heart. My name is Kieo Yingheo, Bai Yu said with a slight smile on his lips. Kieo Yingheo? Your name is so weird. My name is Meiming. Terumi Medi saw it in the intelligence. These 4 characters are Bai Yu's 4 children. My heart couldn't help but feel sour. Others have children, but I'm not married yet. But Terumi Medi's acting skills are still very good. At least Bai Yu, the hands-off boss, hasn't discovered anything yet. I just thought that Meditarumi was a commoner chunin, and the kind that has poor talent and can only do C-level tasks. If you want to say that she is a genin, she can also use the ninjutsu. Although the power is touching, at least she pushed the robbers away with water. Medi, not bad. It suits you very well. You are a beauty, and your name is Medi. Haha. Bai Yu said cheerfully. No way. Meditarumi blushed when Bai Yu praised her. But Meditarumi is a Mizukage after all, and her psychological quality is very strong. Are you a samurai from the Iron Country? You should not be a ninja from the Mist Village, right? You look unfamiliar. Meditarumi asked in a puzzled manner. I'm a Ronin. Although I have an unruly personality, I have principles, which is different from other Ronin. Bai Yu said with a smile. I can see that. After all, it is good for other Ronin not to be with the robbers, and you also help these innocent villagers. Meditarumi said with a smile. Shh. Bai Yu narrowed his eyes and signaled Meditarumi to be silent. Meditarumi stopped talking and remained calm, but she was secretly alert. Don't let Bai Yu get angry. If they really fight, Meditarumi is no match for Bai Yu. Sure. Bai Yu disappeared. When Bai Yu reappeared, he had 2 hairs in his hands. Great, dinner is solved today, haha. Bai Yu said with a smile. Meditarumi let go of her worries and breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out to be prey, I thought. But what would I do if it happened? Meditarumi actually thought about it seriously. Mizukage. You are really delaying my love. Meditarumi sighed helplessly. My barbecue skills are super good. Do you want to try it? Bai Yu thought that it would be boring to be alone. I guess this girl can't eat too much, and it would be lively to eat together. How could I not know? Konoha skewers are fragrant. Meditarumi thought to herself. On the surface, she said with surprise, how can I be so embarrassed? But her heart was already drooling. You should know that the more beautiful a woman is, the more likely she is to have a heart of a foodie and a stomach of a glutton. She eats at the speed of a 100-cylinder engine. And she also has a reserved mind. It's okay, you take a rest first. I'll do it. It'll be quick. Bai Yu said proudly. Then he cleaned the hair skillfully. Life. He also took out the seasoning from his ninja tool bag. Crackle, soon the sound of hot oil crackling sounded. The strong aroma of meat entered Terumi Mena's nose, and then Bai Yu sprinkled some barbecue ingredients. The aroma was even more tempting. Terumi Mei couldn't help but swallow her saliva quietly. It's not that Terumi Mei has never eaten good things, but this aroma is too tempting. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 237, Chatting with Meditarumi. When will it be ready? Meditarumi couldn't help but ask softly. Don't worry. Good food is never too late. Haha. Bai Yu was right next to Meditarumi. Seeing Meditarumi staring at the meat like a child, without blinking, with a look of expectation on her face, the left hand accidentally scratched Meditarumi's nose, and then laughed heartily. Ah. Meditarumi said softly and coquettishly. Meditarumi was very surprised by Bai Yu's behavior, and her heartbeat also jumped twice in an instant. However, Bai Yu didn't notice these subtle movements. Bai Yu was concentrating on grilling meat at this time. This time, Meditarumi didn't stare at the grilled meat like before. From time to time, he also secretly looked at Bai Yu's beautiful profile. It must be said that Bai Yu's cheerful personality, coupled with a beautiful face, is really charming. After a long time, Bai Yu grabbed 2 portions of grilled meat and shouted, "It's done. It's ready to eat." Bai Yu handed Meditarumi a roasted rabbit. But the next second, Bai Yu was stunned. Although Meditarumi ate in a more reserved and elegant way, her speed was not ambiguous at all. Faster than Bai Yu. No, Bai Yu had just eaten 2 legs, and Meditarumi had already finished. Helplessly, Bai Yu had to hand the rabbit in his hand to Meditarumi. Although Meditarumi felt a little embarrassed, her heart of a foodie broke out completely. She took the roasted rabbit and began to enjoy it. When Meditarumi finished eating, she realized that Bai Yu had only eaten 2 rabbit legs, and her face was a little red. Thinking that she was also a Mizukage, she was actually tempted by 2 roasted rabbits, exposing her nature as a foodie. Well, are you hungry? How about I treat you to something to eat? Meditarumi regretted it after she said that. Who is Bai Yu? He is the chairman of the Bai group. However, Meditarumi still thought that Bai Yu did not bring money when he went out. Bai Yu did not bring money. Money is just a string of numbers to Bai Yu, and he is not interested in money. Bai Yu heard what Meditarumi said and smiled bitterly in his heart. If I go to the village with you, I guess the Mizukage will be ready for battle. No need. It's okay. I'm not hungry anymore after eating something. Bai Yu said with a smile. But speaking of it, Ying Heyo, I still have to thank you for taking action today. Otherwise, those innocent villagers might have been killed by those robbers. Terumi Mei said with a gentle smile. I saw injustice and drew my sword to help. That's all. It's not worth mentioning. Bai Yu said with a smile and threw 2 branches into the fire. Ying Heyo, how about you come with me to the Mist Village? It's getting dark. If you have anything to say, talk about it tomorrow. Terumi Mei said. No need, I didn't mean to come here. I'm afraid that my appearance will cause a commotion. Bai Yu said with a wry smile. What kind of commotion can you cause? Terumi Mei asked, pretending to be confused. Forget it, it's nothing. Let's talk about your Mist Village. I heard that your policy has ended. Why are there still so many robbers? Bai Yu asked to change the subject. Since the 5th Mizukage took office, the policy has been lifted, but after all, it has been maintained for so long, and it still needs to be changed slowly. Meditarumi felt a tightness in her heart. She knew the hardships involved. When asked by Bai Yu, Meditarumi suddenly felt that she had not done enough. Take it slow? It is probably because the top forces in the village have been weakened too much by that policy. Otherwise, they would have just issued a few bandit suppression missions, and it would have been over long ago. I don't know what your Mizukage is thinking. Wouldn't it be better to use your own advantages and cooperate with other villages? Afraid of being annexed by other villages? Don't be funny. If Konoha's power was not too strong now, other villages would have needed the Mist Ninja as cannon fodder and would have been annexed long ago. Wouldn't there be time for the Mist Ninja to develop? Bai Yu was expressing his thoughts to himself. He didn't notice that Meditarumi's face was getting darker and darker. Although Meditarumi was dissatisfied with Bai Yu's words about her, she had to admit that Bai Yu was right. Especially the idea of cooperation. It was not that she had never thought about it, but she was afraid that other villages would know her strengths and weaknesses and then have bad thoughts about the Mist Ninja village. After hearing what Bai Yu said, Meditarumi suddenly had a new idea in her mind. However, good for you. You actually said Mizukage-sama. Meditarumi put her hands on her hips, looked at Bai Yu with an indignant look, and said dissatisfiedly, "You have to know that Meditarumi is now playing the role of the genin Meri Meri. TSK. Little girl, I'm not telling the truth." Bai Yu saw Meditarumi's look, tapped Meditarumi's forehead, and said with a smile, "Then you can't say Mizukage-sama." This point seemed to touch Meditarumi's heart. But Meditarumi would not have that kind of spring feeling because of this. If you ask me, it's just that the Mist Village has been closed for too long. Some things can't be seen through. Bai Yu leaned back casually, resting his elbows on the grass, looking up at the sky, smiling lazily, and said lightly. That unruly look made Meditarumi breathe twice quickly, but Meditarumi quickly calmed down. "Hey, Mizukage. This position. Responsibility. So, how do you think the Mist Village should develop?" Meditarumi curled her lips and asked softly. Meditarumi is a mature, dignified, gentle, friendly, and occasionally has a small temper. She has a gentle personality and always has a smile on her face. If you ask me, we should shift the focus to the training of ninjas. We can cooperate with Konoha in the economic aspect. We didn't say it before, but now, Konoha's economy is the first, and no one dares to say it's the second. In terms of seeking armed protection, it should also be Konoha. As far as I know, the strength of the Wind Country is not as good as the Earth Country, and the strength of the Earth Country is not as good as the Thunder Country. The Thunder Country has always been based on the idea of expanding its territory by force. Obviously, this is not a wise choice. Konoha is different. I have never cared about the Will of Fire. However, it is true that they love peace, and the ninjas of Konoha have high professional qualities, and are very professional. Especially those ninjutsu that are common in Konoha. There are so many. Not long ago, I heard that all the villagers came to Konoha with supplies to exchange for some ninjutsu. Speaking of this, Bai Yu was a little helpless. Those ninjutsu were basically just casually mentioned by himself, and then Hatake Kakashi and the others got excited and started to study them like taking medicine. Unexpectedly, they really studied a lot of ninjutsu, some good, some bad, and some more practical ninjutsu. You are not a ninja from Konoha, are you? Why are you so supportive of Konoha? Konoha is so good. Why did you come to the Mist Village? When Meditarumi heard this, she was furious. What are you doing? Is there nothing good about me, the Mist Ninja? Aren't you the Konoha death god Bai Yu? As for praising your own village like this, is there anyone like you? Hearing what Meditarumi said, Bai Yu poked Meditarumi's forehead. He smiled and said, "Is it not enough for me to tell the truth? You Mist Ninjas have experienced that kind of policy. It would be strange if you are okay." Bai Yu said with a smile. Chapter 238 Unexpected Gains. Actually, that was also a last resort. Meditarumi also learned from Bai Yu, lying on the lawn and looking at the sky helplessly. Is there a story here? Can you tell me? Bai Yu was immediately interested when he heard it, lying on the grass, tilting his head to look at Meditarumi. I have to say that Meditarumi is really beautiful. Bai Yu looked at Meditarumi's thin lips and long eyelashes and really wanted to What is this? Just when Bai Yu's heart was surging, he saw the earring on Meditarumi's ear. Bai Yu quietly explored this hidden chakra. Oh, Mizukage? Many? Bai Yu smiled slightly, but didn't point it out. I can't tell you too much. After all, you are not a ninja from the Mist Ninja. I can only say that, since the Mist Ninja village was defeated by the Konoha death god in the Third Ninja World War, the fourth Mizukage has acted a little weird. Meditarumi said, turning her head. But Meditarumi didn't expect Bai Yu to be looking at her too. At this time, the distance between the two people was a little abnormal. Face to face, less than a fist away, breathing can be heard. Bai Yu naturally didn't feel anything. As an experienced person, he looked directly into Meditarumi's eyes with a smile. Ah! Meditarumi exclaimed, and sat up instantly, her face flushed. Meditarumi has never had a boyfriend, and this is the first time she has such close contact. Bai Yu found it a little funny. I can't believe it. A dignified Mizukage actually. Haha. It seems that she must know my identity, otherwise she can't get close to me. Bai Yu's eyes turned, and he would be a bastard if he didn't take advantage of the opportunity. Meri, what's wrong with you? Bai Yu looked at Meditarumi with a caring and sincere look, hugged Meditarumi's shoulders, and said anxiously, I'm fine. Ah. Meditarumi looked at Bai Yu's sincere eyes, and her heart was warmed, but Bai Yu's action still made Meditarumi panic. However, with the caring and sincere eyes as a premise, Meditarumi did not move, but the stiffness of her body reflected Meditarumi's helplessness. A cry of surprise came from Meditarumi's mouth. Bai Yu chuckled in his heart, pretending to be a warm man on the surface. He quickly took Terumi Mena's hand to feel her pulse, and then listened to Terumi Mena's heartbeat. Well, it smells so good and soft. The heartbeat is normal, the face is a little red, and the breathing is a little rapid. Meri, you feel uncomfortable. Tell me quickly. The series of actions just now were smooth and fast. Without giving Terumi Meri any chance to react, Bai Yu eagerly took Terumi Mena's hand, and asked with concern. Sincere eye contact. Terumi Meri also looked at Bai Yu. Bai Yu knew that this was a key point. Once his eyes changed, she would definitely notice it. This is the time to test his acting skills. Terumi Meri looked at Bai Yu's sincere eyes, and felt a little ashamed. Just now she thought Bai Yu was deliberately taking advantage of her. Terumi Meri blushed and said shyly, I'm fine. Sorry, I made you worry. That's good. That's good. It's getting late. You should hurry back to the Mist Village. Bai Yu said with a breath. But at this time, the sky seemed to not let Meditarumi go. In an instant, dark clouds gathered, and the rain went from slow to fast. Bai Yu thought that Meditarumi was playing the role of a Mist Ninja at this time, and it seemed that he didn't want to point it out. In this case, Bai Yu didn't wait for Meditarumi to react, and put his left hand around Meditarumi, and jumped a few times. Back to his cave. However, the rain was very heavy, and Meditarumi was still drenched by the rain, while she was confused. At this time, Meditarumi had only one thought. He hugged me. So strong. So safe. But I was hugged by him. But Bai Yu didn't give Meditarumi a chance to react. Sorry. The rain came too quickly. I was afraid you would be drenched. You take a rest first. I'll go to make a fire. It seems that the rain should be heavy rain, and it should stop after a while. Bai Yu smiled and said, leaving Meditarumi with a chic back, leaving Meditarumi alone in a daze. It smells good. Bai Yu turned around and smiled, saying to himself. Meditarumi looked at Bai Yu's busy figure, and her mind became complicated in an instant. If I were not the Mizukage, could I enjoy a sweet love and stay with the man of my choice forever? Bai Yu, what kind of person are you? Aren't you a god of death who kills people without hesitation? Why are you different from the rumors? If I were not the Mizukage, would I betray the village and try to get along with you? If you were not the elder of Konoha, would you come to my Mist Ninja? Even if you bring your 2 women with you, it is probably impossible. The granddaughter of the first generation. The responsibility of the Mizukage does not allow me to betray the village. I'm really pitiful. Meditarumi smiled self-deprecatingly. After making the fire and waiting for the smoke to subside, Bai Yu called Meditarumi to come over and roast the fire. Meditarumi looked at Bai Yu's profile, and her heart became complicated again. However, Bai Yu did not have the idea of continuing to take advantage of Meditarumi. Bai Yu knew that some things could not be played with fire. When it comes to flirting with girls, either you can get them or you can't. But looking at this, if Bai Yu continues to flirt, he will probably be subjected to Tsunade and Orochimaru's duet for 3 days and 3 nights. A combo like dancing. Mimi, do you know where there are powerful summon beasts besides Mayaboki Mountain, Wetbone Forest, and Raichi Cave? I heard that there are still many gathering places of summon beasts that have not been conquered in the ninja world. Bai Yu asked. In fact, Bai Yu was just making small talk. How could Bai Yu not know? After all, he is also an elder of Konoha. However, there are indeed places where the summon beasts in the ninja world have not been explored. Powerful summon beasts. In addition to these 3 places, I really know a place with a powerful and mysterious beast. It is said that the Yamato no Orochi does not believe that he is dead and his soul remains in that place. Some people also say that it is not the Yamato no Orochi, but a big snake with 8 heads, which has heads that can release 7 attribute ninjutsu of wind, fire, thunder, earth, water, yin, and yang, and a hard head. It is 8 kilometers away from the North Sea. It is said that it is a forbidden place for ninjas. This news was obtained by the unremitting efforts of the adventurous ninjas of all generations. Terumim said after thinking for a while. Oh, an unexpected gain. Bai Yu thought to himself. I didn't expect that Meditarumi would actually know what I just said casually. Meri, I don't know how to thank you for such precious news. How about I marry you? Bai Yu said with a smile. Okay. Meditarumi said in her heart. Bai Yu is naturally, needless to say, he has the looks and the strength. But Meditarumi was just saying it in her heart. Go to hell. Don't make trouble. If you really want to thank me, then wait until I think about it. But can you take me with you? I also want to go and see. I promise not to hold you back. Terumi thought that with her own strength, she could protect herself. But more importantly, Meditarumi still wanted to spend more time with Bai Yu, who met her standards for a partner. Thinking of this, Meditarumi's heart became complicated again. But there was no change on the surface. Just smiled gently. Chapter 239 exposed. Well, are you sure? Don't you have to do the mission? Bai Yu was stunned and said. I have reached the standard for this month's mission. I just finished the mission yesterday, so I thought of going out to relax. I didn't expect to meet you. Meditarumi was panicked by Bai Yu's question, but Meditarumi still calmly gave a reasonable reason. Then okay. But you have to think about it. It should be very dangerous. Although Bai Yu knew that Meditarumi had the strength of a shadow, that beast, as Meditarumi said, might really be the Yamato no Orochi. The previous life was a well-known one. Bai Yu only hoped that his current strength could handle it. But there is only one soul left. It should be easy to deal with. Bai Yu couldn't help but touch his eyes. Don't worry. It's okay. I will never hold you back. Meditarumi nodded repeatedly. If you say that Meditarumi is cute, it's still a bit inappropriate. After all, Meditarumi's every move reveals a charm of maturity and dignity. It can only be said that Meditarumi is very feminine. Should I catch Meditarumi? Ahem. Bai Yu's idea was dispelled, so forget it. After all, he said that Tsunade and Orochimaru were enough. Then do you want to prepare something? Bai Yu thought for a while and asked. Well, you won't run away by yourself. Meditarumi asked. How is that possible? Go back and prepare. Come to me tomorrow morning, and then we'll set off. Bai Yu said cheerfully. After all, the news was given by someone else, so it's okay to take it with you. At most, you can protect it. If you encounter any treasure, give it all to her. Bai Yu thought to himself. Yeah. Meditarumi nodded with a smile. Then Bai Yu and Meditarumi started chatting, waiting for the rain to stop. In fact, it was purely because Terumi wanted to chat with Bai Yu more. The two chatted very well. During the chat, the mature and sexy style that Meditarumi inadvertently revealed made Bai Yu pinch his thigh secretly. After the rain stopped, Meditarumi left. Bai Yu also shot to hairs again. After eating, he sat cross-legged on the stone bed. Meditarumi always had a smile on her face. What could be more comfortable than chatting with a little brother, and chatting so happily? But Meditarumi also sighed in her heart. Identity. That night, Meditarumi temporarily arranged the work in her hands. The next day, Meditarumi went to find Bai Yu early. After a night of absorption and mastery, Bai Yu had completed 1/3 of the perception given to him by the Six Paths Sage. This is not easy. The Six Paths Sage gave Bai Yu the perception of this world, and most of Bai Yu's mind is the perception of the previous world. Although many are different, there are also many similarities. In addition, not all the knowledge of the previous life is not applicable in this world. Take the power of yin and yang as an example. The power of yin and yang in the previous life can explore the secrets of heaven and spy on a person's life destiny, but this world seems very pure. One is healing and physical strength, and the other is spiritual power. Bai Yu was able to master these mysterious knowledge so quickly, which is already very good. Get rid of the dross, and take the essence. Bai Yu didn't want the knowledge in his head to be so complicated, and he would just throw away the useless ones. Ying Heyo, I'm here. Meditarumi shouted softly as she entered the cave. Well, you came at the right time. I cooked porridge here. Have some before you go. Bai Yu was deeply inspired by Baiki. He also prepared a handbag. But this handbag is very delicate, and it was specially made by Bai Yu himself. Bai Yu had stored a lot of ingredients in it earlier, but he didn't use the handbag yesterday because he suddenly wanted to eat game. As soon as Bai Yu finished speaking, Meditarumi smelled the fragrance of meat porridge. He walked over following the fragrance. He saw Bai Yu sitting next to a fire, with a stone pot and a stone bowl. Bai Yu didn't expect Meditarumi to come so early. Meditarumi didn't eat in the morning, and when she smelled this fragrance, she naturally turned on the foodie mode. Seeing that there was meat porridge in the stone bowl, she didn't think much about it, and just picked it up and drank it. When Meditarumi finished drinking the porridge, she saw Bai Yu's strange expression. Then he looked around to see if there were any other stone bowls, and recalled that there was only half a bowl of porridge left in the bowl. He immediately understood what was going on, and didn't say anything, but his face began to blush. Bai Yu didn't say anything either, but silently picked up a stone from the side, drew the Bai Yu sword from his waist, made another bowl, and washed it with water. He served another bowl to Tarumi Mei. In the morning, in a weird atmosphere, enjoying the delicious meat porridge. While drinking, Tarumi Mei secretly looked at Bai Yu, watching Bai Yu's reaction, but Bai Yu's expression was too calm, which made Tarumi Mei feel a little unhappy. After enjoying the meat porridge, let's go. Bai Yu said softly. Yeah. Tarumi Mei nodded embarrassedly. A pot of porridge, 2/3 was consumed by Tarumi Mei. In addition, Bai Yu's weird glance glanced at Tarumi Mei's stomach. After speaking, Tarumi Mei walked out of the cave. Bai Yu followed him out. After Tarumi Mei took a few steps, Bai Yu's voice reached Tarumi Mei's ears. Where are you going? Bai Yu asked. Meditarumi turned around and saw Bai Yu looking at Meditarumi in confusion. The Bai Yu sword was floating on the ground. Aren't you going to find that summoned beast? Meditarumi said. Walk over there? Bai Yu asked. What else? Meditarumi asked back in confusion. Fly over there. Come here. Bai Yu said with a wry smile and waved his hand. Meditarumi then remembered that Bai Yu had the ability to fly, but she had forgotten about it because she was fascinated by Bai Yu for the past 2 days. Meditarumi walked towards Bai Yu. Then what? Meditarumi asked. Stand up. Bai Yu pointed to the Bai Yu sword floating in the air. Curiosity made Meditarumi bolder. When Meditarumi stood on the sword, it shook. Meditarumi panicked for a moment, and in a panic, Meditarumi saved Bai Yu's neck by some strange manipulation. Meditarumi has a very tall figure, so this scene is a bit embarrassing. Bai Yu was almost suffocated. Ah! Meditarumi reacted, blushed, and shouted, pushing Bai Yu away. Use chakra to absorb the long sword. Bai Yu shouted softly. Then he stabilized the Bai Yu sword. Because the chakra output was very small, Bai Yu did not reveal the sage mode. Meditarumi has a strong mind, but she is just a virgin, and anyone would be at a loss when encountering such a thing. After hearing Bai Yu's words, she also stabilized her body and mind and absorbed the long sword. It stabilized immediately, but before Meditarumi could catch her breath, she heard Bai Yu shout, "Let's go." Swoosh, swoosh. It was as fast as lightning. Exclamation mark. Bai Yu took Meditarumi and flew into the air. But Meditarumi was flying for the first time after all, and she was so scared that she started shouting, "Ah! Slow down. Bai Yu. Slow down. I'm scared." When Meditarumi shouted these two words from Bai Yu, her mind went blank. It's exposed. Haha. Bai Yu looked at the stunned Meditarumi in surprise and said with a smile. Chapter 240, A Leap from High in the Sky. In the sky, Meditarumi was gently held on the back by Bai Yu to stabilize her body. Bai Yu was very considerate and used his chakra to release a shield to prevent being blown off by the strong wind. You knew it a long time ago. Meditarumi was not afraid at this time, but was deeply uneasy. Part of this uneasiness was that she was afraid that Bai Yu would do something to her, because if something happened to her, the Mist Village, which had finally returned to the right path, would definitely be in chaos again. However, based on the way that Meditarumi had relieved Bai Yu in the past 2 days, she did not think that Bai Yu would harm her. More uneasy was what kind of mentality she should use to accompany Bai Yu. Meditarumi's heart suddenly became complicated. Although Bai Yu did not know what Meditarumi was thinking specifically, Bai Yu did not care. Bai Yu looked at Meditarumi and touched her right ear with her free left hand. He smiled slightly and did not speak. It turned out that she noticed the earring. When was it? Meditarumi thought about it silently. But the more Meditarumi thought about it, the redder her face became. This guy actually took advantage of me! Exclamation mark. His acting skills are so good. Meditarumi glanced at Bai Yu, stretched out her fair little hand, grabbed the soft flesh on Bai Yu's waist, and turned it 90 degrees. Hissa. You're crazy. Bai Yu cried helplessly in pain. Who told you to take advantage of me? You deserve it. Humph. After saying this, Meditarumi regretted it secretly. Because no matter how she recalled it, the tone of the sentence and her reaction just now seemed like acting like a spoiled child. Exclamation mark. I only eat tofu because it smells good. I won't eat it if it doesn't smell good. Well, it smells really good. Bai Yu raised the corner of his mouth and said frivolously. You. Meditarumi glared at Bai Yu. Bai Yu smiled and said nothing. Bai Yu, did you really come to the Mist Village just for the powerful summoning beast? Meditarumi looked at Bai Yu with complicated eyes and said, yes. Otherwise, my coming to the Mist Village was a misunderstanding. I wanted to leave quietly, but I didn't expect that you Mist Ninjas have such a keen sense of smell. Bai Yu said with a wry smile. So, were all the words you said to me that day true? Meditarumi looked at Bai Yu and asked. Those words? Bai Yu asked. Those words you said about cooperating with Konoha. Meditarumi glared at Bai Yu and said. Of course it's true. To put it bluntly, what else can you, the Mist Village, use now? Bai Yu said casually. Asshole. I'm going to fight you. It's okay to take advantage of me, but you also blame my Mist Village. Meditarumi was instantly unhappy when she heard Bai Yu's words, waving her fists with her teeth and claws. Hey. We're in the sky. Don't make trouble. Bai Yu saw Meditarumi rushing towards him and shouted hurriedly. Sure enough, Meditarumi accidentally fell from the sky. Ah. The strong sense of weightlessness and the rapid sound of the wind made Meditarumi terrified again. That shout could shatter a person's eardrums. Meditarumi felt that she was about to say goodbye to this world, so she could only close her eyes tightly. At this moment, Bai Yu's voice came from her ear. Stop shouting. Meditarumi closed her eyes and slowly opened them. She found that she was not falling, and the sound of the wind was gone. Bai Yu hugged Meditarumi like a princess, and held her in front of his chest. But Meditarumi had not reacted yet. Instead, she hugged Bai Yu's neck, and then she felt safe. Wait until Meditarumi's breathing stabilized. Only then did she react, and the posture with Bai Yu was a little ambiguous. You put me on the sword. Meditarumi said embarrassedly with a red face. Bai Yu sighed helplessly and put Meditarumi down. Then he said with a straight face, now let's see if you can make trouble. If you fall again, I won't care about you. Meditarumi was unhappy again when she heard Bai Yu's words. She glanced at Bai Yu with her beautiful eyes and snorted angrily. Then she looked at Bai Yu and jumped. Bai Yu, I see if you can save me. Meditarumi's stubborn voice came from below. Bai Yu slapped his forehead and silently cursed. Then she hugged Meditarumi like a princess again. Don't bother me. Humph. Meditarumi glanced at Bai Yu, looking victorious and said proudly, you are awesome. I surrender. Let's stop making trouble, okay? Bai Yu said helplessly. Let's go, little Yuzi. Meditarumi sat on the Bai Yu sword with a gentle smile on her face. She waved her hand, looking like a queen. Bai Yu took a deep breath, and then rushed quickly. After the suicide bungee jumping, Meditarumi was no longer very afraid of being in the air. After all, even if she fell, Bai Yu would save her. It was really a different view, to look at the ground from the sky. Soon Meditarumi was attracted by the scenery under her feet and around her. While watching, she also called Bai Yu to watch together. Like a curious baby. From time to time, she asked Bai Yu to take her to the place she wanted to go. Meditarumi was very happy, but Bai Yu was different. He had long been tired of it. However, this also caused the speed of travel to slow down greatly. Bai Yu was very glad that he didn't have a SLR in his previous life. Otherwise, Meditarumi would definitely take pictures from morning to night. At this time, Bai Yu and Meditarumi were on the top of a high mountain, and Bai Yu thought silently in his heart. Bai Yu, when will your mobile phone with a camera be released? I remember the news came out not long ago. Meditarumi looked at the scenery for a while, turned back to look at Bai Yu, and said with a smile, her face full of a happy smile. Although Meditarumi's smile was really beautiful, Meditarumi's words almost hurt Bai Yu. Bai Yu secretly said that it was beautiful. Just after saying that there was no SLR, a mobile phone was made. Bai Yu couldn't help but sigh. These guys really didn't develop quickly when they should, but they were really fast when they shouldn't. I guess it will be soon. The Bai group is now managed by Narahirakoa. Bai Yu touched his nose and said, well, not much, you are really free. I don't know how you built the Bai group. Meditarumi said contemptuously. You don't understand this, do you? If I have to do everything myself, what do I need them for? Know people and assign them to the right positions, so that everyone can give full play to their strengths. I give them a good platform, so that they can give full play to their talents. This not only reflects their life value, but also saves me trouble. As a leader, you must know how to delegate power, get relative treatment or even better treatment through your own abilities, and you can also get the rights you deserve. Who wouldn't work hard for the Bai group? Moreover, I have always been very generous. I have never been stingy with my brothers. As long as they work hard, I will give them ninjutsu, even if they ask for ninjutsu from their friends or relatives. If there is no suitable ninjutsu, I will study a suitable ninjutsu. Bai Yu said proudly. Terumi Medi was so angry. Exclamation mark. Asshole. Who are you talking about? You mean I'm not a qualified Mizukichi? You mean I'm too stingy? After saying this, Terumi Medi rushed towards Bai Yu again with her teeth and claws bared. Not long after, Terumi Medi blushed. Chapter 241 Meditarumi has gained weight. Bai Yu, this guy, although it seems that he has been beaten a lot, he is actually taking advantage of Meditarumi without any pain. And then that smile of enjoying, that deserved a beating. It makes Meditarumi so angry. Seeing that Meditarumi stopped beating, Bai Yu said proudly, HMM. It smells so good. Asshole, I'm hungry. Hurry up and make me a meal. Humph. Meditarumi sat on the top of the mountain and turned her head to the side, saying unhappily. Bai Yu smiled and didn't say anything, but went to make food. Meditarumi glanced at Bai Yu who was busy at the side with her peripheral vision. Her eyes gradually became complicated. How great it would be if I wasn't the Mizukichi. Meditarumi said in her heart. But Meditarumi still wanted to greedily enjoy the time with Bai Yu. Although this time has an end, Meditarumi doesn't know what's wrong with her. She just wants to enjoy it. Live in the moment. Enjoy the present. Meditarumi is worthy of being a woman who can become the Mizukichi. Her psychological quality is really strong. Meditarumi, who figured it out, suddenly felt relieved. Why think so much about this kind of thing? It's not a matter of crisis for the Mist Ninja. What if I marry Bai Yu for the tranquility and peace of the Mist Ninja? Hey, what am I thinking about? Terumi Medi's face was a little hot. Medi's meal is ready. After a long time, just when Terumi Medi was thinking about it in a circular way, Bai Yu's shout pulled Terumi Medi back from her thoughts. I know, you. Terumi Medi said very naturally. But the next second Terumi Medi's face became even hotter. He actually called himself Medi. Exclamation mark. I also called him you. Exclamation mark. Is this a bit ambiguous? Only my relatives call me Medi. He called me, and I didn't feel any discomfort. But soon, Terumi Medi turned into a ruthless eating machine. Fortunately, Bai Yu prepared a lot of food this time. Tonight, let's find a cave here to rest. After eating, Terumi Medi took the initiative to wash the dishes. After all, they would be used tomorrow morning. After finishing, Terumi Medi said to Bai Yu, okay, there's no rush. Bai Yu said with a casual smile. After hearing this, Terumi felt happy, as she could spend more time with Bai Yu. But at night, Terumi was unhappy. The two found a cave, and Bai Yu was very considerate, and cleaned up a place for Terumi to rest. Then Bai Yu actually sat on the ground, and began to practice. Exclamation mark. Yes, that's right, he just practiced like that. Exclamation mark. Terumi looked at Bai Yu, who was practicing seriously, and her forehead was full of black lines. Am I so popular? Exclamation mark. You know, I'm the Mizukage. Aren't you afraid that I will get to know you while you're practicing? But Terumi became obsessed with her. I have to say that Bai Yu is so beautiful. But what Terumi didn't know was that Bai Yu was not afraid of others stabbing her or using a ninjutsu while she was practicing. The advantages brought by the dragon body are particularly obvious in the body. The next day, Terumi was awakened by the fragrant meat porridge. After a simple wash, she sat beside Bai Yu very consciously and stretched out her white hands. Bai Yu smiled and said nothing when he saw this and handed Terumi Medi a bowl of meat porridge. Terumi Medi smiled and began to enjoy the unique delicacy. This was made by Bai Yu himself. I guess no one, except Tsunade and Orochimaru, can enjoy it. Terumi Medi thought to herself. Little did she know that anyone who had a good relationship with Bai Yu had enjoyed it. Let's walk. After breakfast, when they were ready to leave, Terumi Medi said to Bai Yu. Why? Bai Yu asked in confusion. Wouldn't it be nice to fly over? I want to stay with you for a while, idiot. But Terumi Medi naturally couldn't say it. Don't you think that if you walk, you can see more things and rescue the civilians who have been harmed? Terumi Medi rolled her eyes and said with a smile. At this time, Bai Yu regretted not bringing the Nine Tails. Without the Nine Tails chakra, the speed of condensing his dragon body would be much slower. Originally, Bai Yu calculated that the time would only be a few years, but with Terumi as a burden, the time would slow down a lot. But, that's okay, I still have a few days. Okay then. Let's walk. Bai Yu said with a smile. Along the way, Terumi forgot her identity as the Mizukage, and forgot that she was a cage-level strongman. Encountering a beast. Bai Yu goes. Encountering a Ronin. Bai Yu goes. Encountering a gangster. Bai Yu goes. Encountering a robber. Bai Yu goes. Encountering a ninja from another village. Bai Yu goes. In short, no matter what you encounter, Bai Yu is there for everything. Terumi successfully transformed into a little fairy. Well, because little fairies are all foodies. Terumi finally experienced what it means to walk without thinking. Whenever it's time to eat, Terumi will sit quietly next to Bai Yu. But Terumi is also very particular and is responsible for cleaning up. This also leads to a problem. Terumi is fat. The problem of Terumi getting fat was not discovered by Bai Yu or Terumi herself. Instead, by chance, Terumi ran into a group of mist ninjas. Fortunately, Terumi had a forehead protector tied on her arm, so there was no misunderstanding. But this time, Terumi was heartbroken. When she met the ninjas, Terumi remembered that she was the Mizukage. This identity. She immediately thought it was not good. However, the group of ninjas just smiled at Terumi and Bai Yu in a friendly manner and ran away. Terumi was stunned. She hurriedly asked loudly, "Don't you know who I am?" The group of ninjas stopped and looked at Terumi carefully. "Aren't you a ninja from the Mist Village? You should be a new ninja. I feel you look familiar. One of the ninjas asked Meditarumi in confusion. Ah. I know. Suddenly, a ninja slapped his thigh and shouted. Meditarumi secretly regretted that she should not have asked earlier. Now she was recognized. You are a ninja who worships Mizukage-sama, right? The outfits are similar. But, I advise you to lose some weight. Your figure is far inferior to Mizukage-sama, the ninja said jokingly. After that, a group of people smiled friendly and walked away. While Terumi Medi was relieved, a nameless anger suddenly rose. A head full of black lines. Bai Yu could see Terumi Medi's blood-red eyes. A weird smile, and the anger behind it. Dissolving escape dissolving monster technique. Terumi Medi quickly formed seals with both hands and said lightly. Seeing this, Bai Yu hurriedly interrupted Terumi Medi's ninjutsu. However, the terrifying ninjutsu also made a piece of open space in front of Terumi Medi amid hot steam. Then he looked at Terumi Medi on his shoulder and ran away. You. Don't stop me. I'm going to kill these guys. How dare you say that I'm fat. I'm simply tired of living. Terumi Medi cursed with her teeth and claws on Bai Yu's shoulder. Bai Yu just smiled bitterly and said nothing. But he didn't let go of Meditarumi either. Chapter 242. The Kind-Hearted Aunt. But ever since Meditarumi was provoked, no matter how delicious the food made by Bai Yu was, she refused to eat more. It seems that Meditarumi was really provoked. The next night, Bai Yu looked at Meditarumi who wanted to eat, but didn't dare to eat, picked up the lamb leg in his hand, handed it to Meditarumi, and said with a wry smile, Mediming, you should eat something quickly. I feel uncomfortable when I see you like that. I won't eat. I'm fat. The ninjas in my own village can't recognize me. Meditarumi said, almost crying. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. If you didn't always make so many delicious foods, would I be like this? I tell you, Bai Yu, if no one wants me in the future, you have to be responsible. Meditarumi said uncomfortably. Okay, I'll be responsible. You should eat quickly. Bai Yu looked at the tangled and anxious Meditarumi and said helplessly. You said it. Besides, when I leave, no one will cook for you. You will lose weight slowly. Bai Yu handed the lamb leg to Meditarumi and said with a smile. When Meditarumi heard what Bai Yu said, she felt a pang of bitterness in her heart. Yes, he is the elder of Konoha, and I'm the Mizukage of the Mist Village. People from the two camps are destined to. Meditarumi did not speak and walked silently to the resting place. Looking at Meditarumi's back as she left, Bai Yu looked at the lamb leg in his hand awkwardly. However, he inadvertently caught a glimpse of tears in the corners of Meditarumi's eyes. This made Bai Yu silent. Bai Yu took 2 bites roughly and then put the roasted lamb into his handbag. He glanced at Meditarumi who was resting and fell into deep thought. There was no words all night. The next day, Meditarumi was once again awakened by the aroma of delicious food. This time the taste was unprecedentedly strong. When she opened her eyes, she saw Bai Yu holding the meat porridge and fanning the fragrance on her face with a smile. There were some black eggs in the porridge, which was naturally preserved eggs. Preserved egg and lean meat porridge. Wake up. Come, not only this bowl, but this pot is prepared for you. Bai Yu pointed to a small pot of porridge next to him and said with a smile. Meditarumi swallowed her saliva and was about to take it, but when she thought of the brief conversation yesterday, she felt sad. She didn't take it, but pretended to be playful and said, don't eat if you want to lose weight. What if no one wants you in the future? However, Meditarumi didn't know that what was revealed in her eyes could not be concealed no matter what. Eat it. Someone will want you. Bai Yu said with a smile. In fact, Bai Yu was also very entangled in his heart. He had been entangled all night last night. After all, he once said that having 2 women, Tsunade and Orochimaru, was enough. It would be a lie to say that Bai Yu had no thoughts about Meditarumi. As for the identity issue, Bai Yu didn't take it to heart at all. What about the Mizukage? Being able to seduce the Mizukage of another village back to be a wife, that's called ability. The final answer in Bai Yu's heart was to deal with it as it came and let nature take its course. At worst, after returning to the village, he would ask Tsunade and Orochimaru. Although he would be beaten up, it was better than disappointing someone. How do you know? Can you calculate? Meditarumi was delighted by Bai Yu's answer, but she was afraid that she was being too sentimental, so she asked conservatively, "You are called Bai Bankson. I only need to look at you once to know if you are pregnant or not." Bai Yu pretended to be unfathomable and said, "Bai Bankson, I can tell if you are pregnant or not just by looking at you. Haha. You are too. Oh, bastard. You are pregnant. How dare you laugh at me." Meditarumi was first amused by Bai Yu's appearance, and just when she was about to mock Bai Yu, she saw Bai Yu's eyes looking at her belly. Meditarumi saw that her lower abdomen had a small belly because of the increase in weight. Her face turned red, and she instantly exploded. She looked at Bai Yu fiercely and said, "Female donor, I didn't say anything." Bai Yu said helplessly, "Stinky paw. You are not decent. I really don't know how you got to the position of Konoha elder." Meditarumi was teased by Bai Yu, and the unhappiness and bitterness in her heart were also forgotten. She took the porridge and said while drinking, "Thanks to everyone for your kindness. I just killed a few flies. It was a fluke. Haha." Bai Yu said modestly, "Haha." Meditarumi was amused by Bai Yu's appearance. After dinner, Meditarumi also returned to her usual self and walked with Bai Yu. Meditarumi also thought it through. Didn't she already make up her mind? Live in the present and enjoy the present. She really is. Who knows what will happen in the future? And Bai Yu was inexplicably relieved. Although he was entangled in the original promise, his behavior was still very real. Along the way, Meditarumi's care and concern, although not as good as Tsunade and Uchiha Makoto, it was not comparable to ordinary relationships. The two came to a town when it was getting dark. Meditarumi was very happy. She was a beautiful woman. Beautiful women love cleanliness, and Meditarumi is no exception. Pull Bai Yu straight to the hot spring hotel. Find a hot spring hotel with separate men and women. The proprietress of the hotel is an enthusiastic and talkative aunt. Seeing Bai Yu and Meditarumi, she immediately ran over, supported Meditarumi, and said to Bai Yu earnestly, "Young man, maybe you two just got married not long ago. Judging from your situation, you should want to find some romance. But if you want to give your lover some romance, you should also take care of your body. You said that this girl is probably 3 months old. Hurry up, here is the room key. Support this girl. There is a separate hot spring in this room. The price is normal. Take good care of the girl. You look like a good boy, a good guy. Don't be so careless in the future. Okay, auntie. I know. I will pay attention next time." Meditarumi, who originally had a red face and didn't know what to say, was angry and happy in her heart. Hearing Bai Yu's mean answer, her beautiful eyes narrowed, glared at Bai Yu, and performed a 90-degree soul hunting and life-threatening pinch on Bai Yu's waist. Bai Yu felt pain instantly, but he couldn't shout, for fear of affecting others. His face flushed with pain, and he smiled bitterly at the auntie. The aunt responded with an expression that said, "I understand." She smiled and watched Bai Yu help Meditarumi leave. "It's still good to be young," the aunt said softly with envy, and then went about her business. But Bai Yu was in trouble, especially the expression of her eye smiled to the aunt, as if there was something going on between Meditarumi and Bai Yu. Meditarumi was so angry, but she was still happy in her heart. However, she was busy chasing Bai Yu's soul and killing him. Walking into the room, Bai Yu couldn't help it. "Let go. It hurts," Bai Yu said painfully. HMPH. Meditarumi glanced at Bai Yu and ran straight to the dressing room in the room. Bai Yu rubbed his waist with despair. Unlike Meditarumi, Meditarumi was going to take a hot spring bath. Bai Yu simply took a shower, changed into a new set of clothes, and sat in a corner of the room to start practicing, absorbing the insights given to him by the Six Paths Sage. Chapter 243 Take Eye Ring. Meditarumi walked into the fitting room, and when she saw her own appearance, she covered her mouth to prevent herself from screaming. "Is this still me? How could I be so fat?" Meditarumi couldn't believe it. At this moment, Meditarumi wanted to die. At the same time, she also developed resentment towards Bai Yu. It's all his fault. If he hadn't always tempted me, I wouldn't have gotten so fat. After changing into a bathrobe for the hot spring, Meditarumi tiptoed to open the dressing room. She was afraid that Bai Yu would see her out of shape figure. However, when she saw Bai Yu practicing, Terumi covered her forehead with a helpless smile and almost forgot that Bai Yu had been practicing at night these days. But last night, he didn't seem to practice. Terumi didn't think much about it, but happily soaked in the hot spring. Wash your clothes, steam them dry with chakra, wear them the next day, and then have a good sleep. The next day, Terumi woke up naturally. Because she was used to Bai Yu tempting her to get up with delicious food, she thought it was still dark, because she couldn't smell the fragrance. It wasn't until the sun was high that Terumi got up. She was a little surprised to see the sky, but in an instant, Terumi felt a strong sense of oppression around her. The vigilance in Terumi's bones broke out instantly. Without waiting for investigation, she came to the dressing room with the instant body technique. After getting dressed, she appeared in the room. She looked around vigilantly until she saw Bai Yu, and Terumi was relieved. The room was very large, and the sleeping area was separated separately. So Terumi didn't see Bai Yu at the first time. The strange phenomenon around Bai Yu is very strange now. The black and white airflows around are very obvious. They converged behind Bai Yu's head, but it seems that these two airflows are very fierce. It's like two ninjas from two camps fighting. And Bai Yu's expression is also very serious and a little painful. Although Terumi doesn't understand, with her many years of experience, she also knows that Bai Yu is at a critical moment. Immediately, she decided to protect Bai Yu. However, Terumi went to the aunt to pay the money first. The aunt is worthy of being an aunt, and one sentence almost made Terumi feel ashamed. Little girl, don't forget that you still have a child in your belly. Although it won't be long, you have to be moderate. At night, I will make some soup for that young man to replenish his body. I used to replenish my old man. This is a recipe for replenishing the body. I'm old and my memory is not good. I wrote it down. I will write one later. The aunt showed a smile of an experienced person and said while holding Terumi's hand. Terumi's face turned red instantly. God knows why this aunt has a recipe. Terumi didn't know how she got back to her room. She was dizzy all the way. Seeing Terumi's appearance, the aunt once again sighed. It's great to be young. Back in the room, Terumi tried to calm down her mood and protect Bai Yu. At this time, Bai Yu was cursing in his heart. Last night, Bai Yu finally absorbed and mastered the perception completely. Combined with the knowledge of the previous life, he reintegrated it. I just want to say that when the power of yin and yang reaches its peak, a Teikai ring will be formed behind the head. Touch the yin and yang law. It doesn't mean that, after forming the Teikai ring, you will master the yin and yang law, but you just have the capital to contact the law. But when Bai Yu began to condense, he regretted it. Bai Yu's yin and yang power is all in his eyes. Others condense the yin and yang power in the Niwen Palace between the eyebrows, and the yin and yang power is gradually harmonized. Although Bai Yu has yin and yang power in both eyes, the yin and yang power of the left eye and the right eye have never been harmonized. It's like two pairs of brothers. One pair of brothers said to the other pair of brothers, "Why are you the same as us?" The other pair of brothers replied, "I still want to ask you. I just ask you a question. What's your attitude, and what are you looking at? What's wrong with looking at you? Try looking at one more. Try it. Everything is self-evident." The impact of the two forces deeply stimulated Bai Yu's nerves. But Bai Yu still persisted bitterly and merged the two energies in the Niwen Palace. The Teikai ring behind the head is just a manifestation. The real focus is still in the Niwen Palace. Because Bai Yu's yin and yang power is all in his eyes, there is one more process than others. The Niwen Palace is known as the mysterious third eye. Bai Yu's eyes are a gift from heaven, but at the same time, if Bai Yu chooses to condense the Teikai ring, it will give Bai Yu a layer of shackles invisibly. This is the legendary interdependence of fortune and misfortune. This shackle is that Bai Yu must use his eyes as a basis and the Niwen Palace as a medium to reconcile the energy of his eyes and gather the Teikai ring. Once Bai Yu succeeds, the speed of performing the Teikai ring will be faster than others, and the speed of comprehending the yin and yang law will also be faster. After all, fortune and misfortune are interdependent. This condensation is 7 days. Terumi is happy and worried at the same time. The happy thing is that Terumi is not doing nothing to protect Bai Yu every day, but also refining chakra. The heat emitted when refining chakra makes Terumi Medi lose a lot of weight. What is worrying is that Bai Yu still hasn't woken up, but the two air currents behind his head converge into a black and white ring. It was slowly flowing. Black and white were clearly distinguished, but compared to the first day, it was so much more harmonious. Bai Yu was at the most critical moment. Although the yin and yang forces had been reconciled, they were only reconciled. They were still a little short of the real reconciliation. As the master of these two forces, Bai Yu, coupled with his telepathic ability, could clearly perceive the emotions of the two forces. Although they were much more harmonious, they still contained a deep hostility and uneasiness. What should I do? What should I do? Bai Yu was also anxious. However, when Bai Yu was anxious, the two forces suddenly became energetic, like a thunderstorm, and they would come down as soon as they said it. The two forces broke out again without any signs. This time they fought directly in the Niwen Palace. This was really powerful. Because of the reconciliation, the two forces extracted the yin and yang forces from both eyes. They could only extract them from a single eye before, but this time they were upgraded. Bai Yu was dumbfounded when he saw this. After a while, Bai Yu secretly said in his heart, "Beautiful." In this case, Bai Yu's spirit of seeking death rose again. "Don't you want to fight? Come on, I wish you a helping hand." Bai Yu was ruthless and did not stop him. Instead, he used all his yin and yang power in his eyes and injected it into the Niwen Palace. "Come on. Don't you want to fight? Let's fight as much as we want. Let's go." Early in the morning of the 8th day, Terumi, who was refining chakra, was awakened by the aroma of delicious food. Such a familiar smell. Could it be? Terumi opened her eyes in surprise and saw Bai Yu holding a bowl of preserved egg and lean meat porridge in his hand. There was also a small pot of meat porridge next to him. Still smiling and fanning the aroma at her, Terumi felt relieved in her heart and happily took the meat porridge. Without saying a word, she smiled and enjoyed it. Bai Yu also looked at Terumi with a smile, without saying a word. Everything is self-evident. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 244. Bai Yu has changed. Terumi smiled and drank the porridge for a while, and then tears slowly flowed down. Although Bai Yu woke up, the way Bai Yu looked now made Terumi feel heartbroken. Overnight, Bai Yu's beautiful face disappeared. Instead, it was an old face, like a 70-year-old grandfather. A head full of white hair. Especially the eyes. The pupils disappeared, and it was completely white. Even his hands were covered with wrinkles. In fact, when Bai Yu woke up, he found that something was wrong, especially when he saw his hands. He rushed into the dressing room and looked at himself in the mirror. For a long time, Bai Yu was in a state of autism. When he came to his senses, he smiled bitterly and said to himself, "It's careless. You, how did you do it? How did it become like this overpass?" Terumi couldn't control herself, hugged Bai Yu, cried, and said distressedly. Bai Yu also smiled bitterly and said, "I was impulsive. But this is only temporary." "Really? What's going on?" Terumi looked at Bai Yu worriedly and asked. Bai Yu looked at the tearful Terumi and explained. Last night, Bai Yu exerted all his strength to fuse the two forces with force. The fusion was very successful, but the consumption of himself was very great. The energy in the body cells was squeezed and absorbed by the eyes, and the yin and yang power in the eyes was also as thin as a gossamer. Although Bai Yu succeeded, the yin and yang power also needs to recover slowly. After the power is restored, Bai Yu will plunder the vitality between heaven and earth and restore his original appearance. After Bai Yu's explanation, Terumi finally breathed a sigh of relief. Although she regained her calm, she felt distressed when she saw Bai Yu's old appearance and his trembling when he walked. But this is all appearance. Bai Yu is the most vigorous now. The two use the transformation technique to leave the hot spring hotel. Walking on the street, hearing the idle chatter of passers-by, this time it was not Terumi who was full of black lines, but Bai Yu. This girl is so filial. She helps grandpa take a walk. Mom, although the old man can't see, he is still very strong. Yeah. Tell your dad to exercise when we get back so that he can be as strong as the old man when he gets old. Yeah. Okay, Mom. I'll go back and supervise dad with you. This old man is interesting. Even in this state, he still has a sword hanging on his waist. Brother, let me tell you, don't underestimate this old man. Maybe this old man is another worldly master. Look at the granddaughter next to him. Not to mention, this granddaughter is quite pretty, although a little fat, but she can't hide her dignified charm. If I can have a daughter-in-law like this, I would accept it, even if I have to shorten my life by 10 years. You kid, can you stop talking about this? Is this what I'm talking about? Judging from the way they are dressed, they are not from here. They must be a wealthy family from the Mist Village. They can bring such a beautiful granddaughter here to play. Do you think the old man doesn't have some ability? Oh my god, it really is. Brother, you are still smart. Actually, these are not what makes Bai Yu crazy. What makes Bai Yu crazy the most is that when passing by a vegetable stall, the stall owner is an old lady. Bai Yu clearly heard the old lady whispering, I don't know if this old man has a partner. Although he is in good health, he looks older than me. Don't think too much about it. This time it was Meditarumi's turn to drag Bai Yu away. Asshole. If you hadn't pulled me, do you believe that I would have killed that old woman with a sword? Which I saw that I'm older than her. I'm not older than her in my 2 lives combined. Bai Yu shouted angrily in his heart. Meditarumi looked at Bai Yu and felt very funny. After this incident, he felt closer to Bai Yu. The two of them left the small village and walked on the deserted road. Bai Yu regained his calm. Can you really return to your original appearance? Meditarumi said to Bai Yu with a very uncomfortable heart. Seeing the appearance of according to Meiming, Bai Yu suddenly remembered a noun in the previous life. Without speaking, Zaiming is more and more unable to control his inner emotions. I couldn't help but say, don't worry, don't be sad. I believe there will be a way. Even if I have to travel to the ends of the earth, I will help you recover. I don't know what happened to you, but after walking for so long, I also observed that your steps are weak, your legs are still shaking while walking, and your breath is not as strong as before. I think you can't exert any strength now. Even if you use secret techniques to burst your strength, this kind of secret technique can't be used frequently. We have been together for almost a month. You have taken care of me meticulously for so long. I'm very touched, but you are like this now. Do you want to say goodbye? People are really like this. Bai Yu sighed in his heart and thought silently. From now on, I will take care of you. I don't know how long you can live. I will accompany you until the end of your life. Let's go back to the Mist Village now. I will help you find a way. Terumi Medi said with red eyes and very firm. Nani? Exclamation mark. Bai Yu was shocked. Oh my god, do I have to be so touched? No, I don't remember that the author arranged it this way, Bai Yu thought to himself. After Meditarumi finished speaking, she pulled Bai Yu back. Bai Yu came back to his senses. Bai Yu smiled slightly, and in an instant, he hugged Meditarumi like a princess and held her in his arms, flying into the air. After Meditarumi reacted, she panicked, fearing that Bai Yu would use some secret technique. She hurriedly checked Bai Yu's condition and found that Bai Yu's breathing was stable, his heartbeat was normal, and his arms and chest were still so safe. She breathed a sigh of relief and smiled gently, but she didn't dare to speak and buried her face in Bai Yu's left chest with a blush, looking at the white clouds around her. After all, I just said that, it's all Bai Yu's fault. There's nothing wrong with my body, why should I pretend to be weak? If Bai Yu knew, he would definitely cry out for injustice. This is not his fault. The cells are damaged, although the strength has not been weakened, but the body is really not 1% of what it was before. This old look is not what Bai Yu wants to choose. If possible, Bai Yu still hopes that he has black hair, and his face doesn't have to be so beautiful, just handsome. In the sky, Meditarumi was shy in her heart, and didn't know how to face Bai Yu, while Bai Yu was smiling, moved and a little ashamed, thinking that Meditarumi was the kind of person who was obsessed with appearance. But now the smile with wrinkles on her face is really a bit weird. This time, Bai Yu chose to fly directly to the destination. Because Bai Yu now desperately wants to get rid of this old state. So, Bai Yu really needs a new power bank. Chapter 245 Uchiha Itachi's Incident. If the nine-tailed fox is not brought, then the summoning beast or the soul of the Yamato no Orochi in this position is a good choice. However, Bai Yu did not choose to fight directly, but settled down nearby, rested, and welcomed the new power bank in the best condition. After finding a big mountain, Bai Yu used his sword energy to make a cave. Then he sat tremblingly in the innermost part. He looked at Meditarumi with big eyes, or should I say old eyes against beautiful eyes. After staring at each other for a while, Bai Yu spoke, "Well, didn't you say you would take care of me until the end of my life? Hurry up, don't stand there, I'm hungry." Bai Yu said calmly. It would be better if he didn't say it. When he said this, Meditarumi's heart, which had just calmed down, beat violently again, and her face began to burn. However, Meditarumi didn't say anything, and completely showed her feminine side. She made a home-cooked meal for Bai Yu, and the ingredients were not taken from Bai Yu, but were taken locally. You know, this is a big mountain. A pot of mushroom soup, a plate of fried meat, and a homemade version of sushi. Meditarumi blushed and handed it to Bai Yu. You know, this is the first time Meditarumi cooks for a man. And it's a man she likes. Bai Yu looked at the dishes, and took a bite. It must be said, that this job of cooking still has to be done by women. I just relied on the wisdom of the big country a few years ago, to make all kinds of snacks and delicacies, that are popular on the streets. But Bai Yu didn't say anything, but wolfed down the food made by Meditarumi. To affirm a person, you don't need to say some beautiful words. Sometimes, you can praise others more sincerely with practical actions. Looking at Bai Yu's eating, Meditarumi was very happy in her heart, and hurriedly said, "Slow down, no one will snatch it from you. Drink a bowl of soup." Meditarumi said gently, and then served Bai Yu a bowl of soup. Bai Yu took it arrogantly, drank it all in one gulp, and then continued to eat. "Slow down. Isn't it hot?" Meditarumi said gently. "Hot? How is it possible?" For Bai Yu, even if you throw him into the fire, he won't burn to death. At most, his hair will be burned. After Bai Yu finished eating, Terumi Medi started to eat. After eating, she cleaned up the place virtuously. When Terumi Medi came back, she wanted to talk to Bai Yu, but she saw Bai Yu practicing. Beautiful. Terumi Medi rolled her eyes at Bai Yu, and went to rest. Chakra can't always be refined. And Bai Yu was not idle either, but used the chakra in his body, to condense the dragon body. Compared with the condensation of the nine-tailed chakra, Bai Yu's speed is really like a tortoise and a hare race. The next day, Terumi Medi still made breakfast. Maybe it was because they went to the beach. Terumi Medi made a seafood breakfast for Bai Yu. It was very delicious, especially the seafood soup made by Terumi Medi, which was absolutely delicious. At this time, some shameless people began to think in their hearts that Tsunade was good at making snacks, which should be related to her previous habits. Uchiha Mikoto was good at cooking. Terumi Medi was good at making seafood. If the fate with Meditarumi really comes, I will have more abundant meals in the future. Shameful, Bai Yu actually thought of this. Let's get back to the point. Today we have to face the unsolved mystery. After everything was packed, Bai Yu and Meditarumi went to their destination with serious faces. Meditarumi is not of ours. How could she be like a girl in love every day? The two did not speak, but set off in tacit understanding. Konoha village, Bai mansion. Mom. Woo woo. Baiyao and Baiki came back from school. Baiyao walked to Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto's room and started crying. Baiki naturally didn't know. Baiyao was very calm along the way, talking and laughing. Baiki had returned to his room at this time, turned on the computer, and chatted with Uchiha Raizumi. Ever since Bai Yu's family moved into Uchiha Raizumi's house, Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto had already trained Uchiha Raizumi as their future daughter-in-law. What about home decoration, home appliances, etc. All are made the best. Some words said by Uchiha Mikoto, who is gentle, will definitely make Uchiha Raizumi unacceptable. But Tsunade is different. Izumi, these things are, first, for the reward you gave us for staying with us that time. Second, you and Beiki, Mikoto and I know a little bit. Sooner or later we will be a family, no need to refuse. Tsunade's simple and clear, rough and direct way of talking made Uchiha Raizumi happy and shy at the same time. Uchiha Raizumi, who was at a loss, let Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto manipulate her inner days. Of course, Beiki didn't know these, and Sashiki was silly and happy with Uchiha Raizumi every day. Originally, Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto were still talking about Beiki and Baiyao, and they were very happy, but they saw Baiyao crying. Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto felt so distressed. Unlike Uchiha Mikoto, Tsunade has a bad temper. In Konoha, only Bai Yu can subdue Tsunade. As for how Bai Yu subdued Tsunade, that was to beat Tsunade until she was tired. Then Bai Yu smiled and carried Tsunade home. Joa, what's wrong? Did Uchiha Itachi bully you? Tell mom. I'll go beat him up. Tsunade said as she bared her arms and rolled up her sleeves. Joa, don't cry. Did Uchiha Itachi really bully you? Uchiha Mikoto hurriedly wiped Baiyao's tears and asked anxiously. No, mom. Mikoto mom. Itachi, he didn't bully me. Baiyao said hurriedly. Oh. What's going on? Tsunade asked with a frown. I secretly went to see Uchiha Itachi practice today. Baiyao's face turned red, and she continued. Uchiha Itachi, who was originally very good, suddenly vomited blood, and then began to cough. His expression was very painful. His face was also very pale. I was very worried about him. I could feel that Itachi was in pain at the time, and his body was also in pain. But I don't have enough ability. I want to ask my mother to help. I know that my mother's medical ninjutsu is very powerful. After saying this, Baiyao looked at Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto expectantly. After listening to Baiyao's words, Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto looked at each other. Sure enough, what Bai Yu was worried about happened. Blood inheritance disease is also a genius disease. Seeing the expressions of Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto, Baiyao was very nervous. Joa, your father knew about this a long time ago. Uchiha Mikoto said with a wry smile. Ah. Mikoto's mother, did your father say how to solve it? Baiyao asked hurriedly. If Bai Yu was here, seeing his daughter getting anxious and angry for someone else's brat, she would definitely suffer internal injuries. Uchiha Mikoto glanced at Tsunade. Tsunade first told Baiyao about Uchiha Itachi's situation. Baiyao couldn't stop crying after hearing it. Seeing Baiyao's look, Uchiha Mikoto hurriedly said, your father has told you how to solve this problem, and he also left a scroll on how to solve it. But this is the first time your father has encountered this disease, so I don't know if it will work. For this matter, your mother and I really need to go to Uchiha Itachi's home. Then let's go. Baiyao hurriedly said after hearing it. Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto saw Baiyao's look, and they thought to themselves that a girl should not be kept when she grows up. Exclamation mark. The ancients said that sincerity is true. The two looked at each other and smiled helplessly. Chapter 246 Calm Uchiha Itachi. However, it was already late, so Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto naturally couldn't go to Uchiha Fugaku's house at night. But the next day, while Baiyao and Beiki went to school, Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto took Baiying and Baiyao to visit Uchiha Fugaku's family. Uchiha Missy was very happy with the arrival of Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto. As the head of the family, Uchiha Fugaku had to be busy with many things, so he was not at home. 3 women, 3 children, the adults were chatting, the children were playing, everything was so harmonious. But when it came to Uchiha Itachi, Uchiha Missy cried. There was no way whoever had the child would feel sorry for him. Tsunade, Missy, what do you say we can do about this? My poor child, why is life so hard? Uchiha Missy asked while crying. Uchiha Mikoto and Uchiha Missy have been playing together since childhood, and she hurried over to comfort Uchiha Missy. Tsunade felt uncomfortable when she saw Uchiha Missy's appearance. Tsunade also told Uchiha Missy that Bai Yu told the details of Uchiha Itachi's illness and the method he left behind. You mean Uchiha Itachi has had it since he was a child? No wonder Bai Yu always has a thoughtful look in his eyes when he sees Uchiha Itachi. It really took you a lot of trouble. Uchiha Missy said gratefully. But you said that this method is also the first time he has used it, and he doesn't know whether it will work. Before Bai Yu left, He researched a set of chakra training methods for Uchiha Itachi, and also said that, if it doesn't work, then let Uchiha Itachi stop training, and wait for him to come back. Anyway, with Itachi's talent, these few years won't be a problem. Tsunade said with a smile. Okay. As long as Itachi is safe, anything is fine. Uchiha Missy is now in a typical mother's psychological state. At the critical moment, as long as her children are safe and healthy, that's enough. What about hoping that the son will become a dragon and the daughter will become a phoenix? All of them are thrown behind her. Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto saw Uchiha Missy's appearance, and they were also full of emotion. Women understand women better, and mothers understand mothers better. Then Tsunade personally handed the scroll left by Bai Yu to Uchiha Missy. Uchiha Missy put the scroll away very carefully. After all, this was the life-saving straw for her beloved son. After a brief chat with Uchiha Missy, Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto said goodbye. After all, seeing Uchiha Missy, who was absent-minded and full of worry, Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto felt uncomfortable. Today, Uchiha Fugaku came back early and went home before Uchiha Itachi finished school. After playing with Uchiha Sasuke for a while after returning home, he found that Uchiha Missy's face was not very good. He quickly went over and asked with concern, "Missy, what's wrong with you? Are you feeling unwell?" Uchiha Missy's eyes turned red, and she told Uchiha Fugaku about Uchiha Itachi. Obviously, Uchiha Fugaku knew about the blood disease, and a trace of sadness flashed in his eyes. But after all, he was the head of the clan, and Uchiha Fugaku was strong in his heart. "I didn't expect Itachi to. Hey, this disease is recorded in the clan, but no one of the clan members who got this disease can be cured. I hope Yu's method is useful." Uchiha Fugaku also said worriedly. Bai Yu has taken great pains so that his daughter Bai Yu can live happily with Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Itachi and Bai Yu are different. Bai Yu is taking the route of cheating, while Uchiha Itachi is a native genius. Natural energy is a double-edged sword in this world. If it can be used, it must be good, but if it is not used well, it will hurt yourself. There are countless ninjas petrified by natural energy, so Bai Yu was very careful when studying this technique. In view of the Uchiha clan's Sharingan, he also studied how to use natural energy from simple to complex, and then transform natural energy into new chakra belonging to individuals. However, this technique has a disadvantage, that is, once it is integrated into the existing attributes, it will not have new attributes in the future. But the advantage is that one can develop his own attributes to the extreme, and the body will be tempered by natural energy, without worrying about cell damage, and the new chakra will be more powerful than ordinary chakra. However, as of now, if Uchiha Itachi chooses to learn this chakra training method, he will only have yin and fire attributes in the future. Maybe he can even get a new bloodline limit, but that's all for later. Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Missy looked at Uchiha Sasuke playing in the yard. Fortunately, there was a trumpet. Ahem. How is it possible? The two were a little worried at this time. Uchiha Sasuke should not have this problem again, but the two were obviously a little worried. If Bai Yu hadn't been impatient, Uchiha Itachi would not have triggered the blood disease so early. "Mother, I'm back." "Father, you're back so early today." Uchiha Itachi had a smile on his slightly sick face. Uchiha Missy and Uchiha Fugaku felt sad. "Itachi." Uchiha Missy couldn't help but hugged Uchiha Itachi and cried, "Mother? Father, what's going on?" Before Uchiha Itachi finished speaking, while Uchiha Itachi was in a daze, Uchiha Fugaku also rushed over and hugged Uchiha Itachi. Although he didn't say anything, Uchiha Itachi felt a deep worry. "What's going on?" 3 question marks appeared on Uchiha Itachi's head. "Mother, father, what's wrong with you?" Uchiha Itachi asked with a wry smile. After a long time, Uchiha Missy finally calmed down. "Did you vomit blood when you were practicing not long ago?" Uchiha Missy asked worriedly. "Huh? Mother, how did you know?" Uchiha Itachi asked with a frown. In order not to worry his parents, Uchiha Itachi endured the discomfort of his body and returned to his room. Unexpectedly, he failed. "You silly child, why didn't you tell your mother earlier?" Uchiha Missy said with tears in his eyes. "I don't want to worry my mother and father. Just like the way you looked just now, I don't like it. I feel very uncomfortable." Uchiha Itachi said with a frown. "You little brat. If you hadn't discovered it early, you would have really gotten into trouble if you kept silent." Uchiha Fugaku was touched and angry. He was touched by Uchiha Itachi's filial piety and angry that this kid was so stubborn. Huh? Exclamation mark. Could it be that Uncle Bai Yu told the secret? Uchiha Itachi thought to himself. Father, I might have been anxious when I was practicing. It's nothing. I just need to rest for a while. Uchiha Itachi said. You really don't know the real situation. After Uchiha Fugaku said this, he told him about Uchiha Itachi's situation. But Uchiha Itachi was very calm, as if it wasn't him who was in danger of his life. Seeing Uchiha Itachi's calm look, Uchiha Fugaku praised him in his heart. However, when I was a child, Uncle Bai Yu knew it, so now there must be a way to solve it. Uchiha Itachi said calmly. Uchiha Fugaku grinned. It turned out that this kid was fearless because of Bai Yu. Itachi, what if I say he can't do anything? Uchiha Fugaku said. Then I have to know how much time I have left and then do something in this time. Make sure I don't regret coming to this world. Uchiha Itachi said calmly. Chapter 247 Uchiha Shin's new move. This time, Uchiha Fugaku nodded with satisfaction. This character is indeed his own child. Silly child, don't say silly things. Your Uncle Bai Yu has already left you a solution. Don't listen to your father's nonsense. I'll give it to you right away. Uchiha Missy glared at Uchiha Fugaku, then quickly took the scroll and handed it to Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Itachi took the scroll and began to read it. After reading it for a long time, he calmly said to Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Missy, who looked expectant, Father, Mother, I don't understand. Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Missy's faces changed instantly, and the corners of their mouths twitched. They forgot that, although Uchiha Itachi has always been very mature, he is still a child now. Uchiha Fugaku didn't need Uchiha Missy to say anything, and quickly took the scroll and read it. He read it for a while. Uchiha Fugaku said with approval, as expected of you, this training method is really profound. It is certain that, if you really practice according to this method, it is possible to solve Itachi's problem. Then you quickly teach Itachi. Uchiha Missy also said excitedly. That, I understand this training method, but I don't know the various meridian points of the human body. Uchiha Fugaku scratched his head awkwardly. Uchiha Missy's smile disappeared instantly. Silently sorted out the scroll. You go to see Sasuke today. Uchiha Missy said to Uchiha Fugaku unhappily. Let's go, Itachi, let's go find Aunt Tsunade. She is a top medical ninja. She must know. Then he took Uchiha Itachi's hand and walked out of the house with a scroll. Uchiha Fugaku smiled bitterly. Every profession has its own specialty. Helpless Uchiha Fugaku had to take Uchiha Sasuke out for dinner. He couldn't cook either. Uchiha Itachi looked calm, but his gratitude to Bai Yu was upgraded again. Arriving at Bai Mansion, Bai Yu was very happy and quickly invited Uchiha Misaya to come in, and then couldn't help looking at Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Itachi also looked at Bai Yu with a smile on his face, and the tenderness in his eyes was no less than when he looked at Uchiha Sasuke. Of course, this look was definitely different from when he looked at Uchiha Sasuke, mixed with some unspoken emotions. Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto saw Uchiha Misaya coming with Uchiha Itachi and quickly prepared some delicious food. However, when they learned about Uchiha Misaya's purpose of coming, Tsunade couldn't help but smile bitterly. I'm sorry, Misaya, I don't know all the things that you has researched. Tsunade said helplessly. Although Uchiha Misaya still had a smile on her face, she couldn't help but feel a little sad in her eyes. Of course, if it's the meridian points of the human body, Noharalin and Shizu know it. I can help you call them. Tsunade said quickly. That's great. I'll leave it to you, Sister Tsunade. Uchiha Missy said with joy in her eyes. Thank you, Aunt Tsunade. Uchiha Itachi also said gratefully. It's okay, it's okay. Tsunade said with a smile, and then imitated the sound of a bird. Tsunade and Uchiha Mikoto were both members of the dragon group. How could they not know this code? What is this? Uchiha Missy and Uchiha Itachi were full of doubts. Swoosh, swoosh. Uchiha Genji and Hyuga Asakura appeared in the yard. Sister-in-law, you called us? Uchiha Genji shouted at the house in unison. This was arranged by Bai Yu before leaving. Different dragon group ninjas would be photographed every day to protect the Bai Mansion. Today it was the turn of Uchiha Genji and Hyuga Asakura. Logically speaking, Uchiha Genji and the other 8 new and old people should not do this, but there is no way, because Bai Yu is loved by everyone. Genji, Asakura. Who of you can help me call Nohara Rin and Shizune? Tsunade immediately recognized the voices of the 2 people and shouted from the house. I'll go. Hinata Asakura said, and then the figure disappeared. Sister-in-law. Asakura has gone. Then there's nothing else to do. I'll withdraw. Uchiha Genji shouted. Okay. You've worked hard. Tsunade shouted again. Seeing the eyes of Uchiha Missy and Uchiha Itachi, Tsunade explained. This is a code word of the Dragon Group. They are the Dragon Group ninjas who protect the Bane Mansion. Uchiha Missy understood it, and Uchiha Itachi had unknowingly buried the shadow of the Dragon Group in his heart. Things have been settled. Uchiha Missy, Tsunade and Uchiha Makoto began to talk about women. And Baiyo quietly pulled Uchiha Itachi aside and whispered. And Baiki was miserable accompanying Baking Cheng to play games. Why do I say miserable? Baking Cheng is so bad at playing games. The new game released by Lanteng Technology is a MOBA game called Ninja League. Of course, it is played on the Experience server. Not only is she not good at playing, but she also has to fight hard, without positioning, without equipment, and without awareness. Since the game came out, Baking Cheng has successfully transformed into a game otaku. Not long after, Nohara Rin, Uchiha Obito, Kato Shizune, and Uchiha Shizu all came. This is lively. Uchiha Shizu loves Uchiha Itachi, his younger brother, very much. Knowing that Uchiha Itachi was sick, he directly pulled Uchiha Itachi aside for examination. As a member of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Obito also took good care of Uchiha Itachi. So Nohara Rin and Kato Shizune also checked Uchiha Itachi. Of course, Uchiha Shizu pulled Uchiha Itachi to the 2 women for examination. Nohara Rin and Kato Shizune have very high attainments in medical ninjutsu. Naturally, they can see the damage to Uchiha Itachi's body. His face was extremely serious. Uchiha Missy was naturally very happy about everyone's care for Uchiha Itachi, and then she told Nohara Rin and Kato Shizune about her request. Nohara Rin and Kato Shizune agreed without any hesitation. It was also agreed that starting from tomorrow, Nohara Rin and Kato Shizune would teach Uchiha Itachi about the knowledge of human meridian points. Now the matter of Uchiha Itachi has come to a temporary end. 2 flowers bloom, each with its own beauty. It took Uchiha Shin a long time to recover after being injured by Bai Yu in the space channel. After Uchiha Shin recovers, he will take revenge. But he was stopped by Black Zetsu. In a dark base, he began to plan the next move. The next move is the Uchiha clan. Because, after this full output with Bai Yu, Uchiha Shin found that his eyesight was somewhat damaged. Although it was not very serious, it was a slight crisis to Uchiha Shin's strength. The reason why the Uchiha clan was decided to take the next step was because Black Zetsu said that the power of the Sharingan could only be replenished through the Sharingan, and even become stronger. This instantly gave Uchiha Shin a new idea in his heart! Exclamation mark. At the same time, Black Zetsu also told Uchiha Shin about the eternal Mangekyou Sharingan. This made Uchiha Shin want to immediately massacre the Uchiha clan and grab the Sharingan! Exclamation mark. Uchiha clan. Humph, only I, Uchiha Shin, am the orthodox of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Shin said secretly. However, he didn't know that Black Zetsu, who was standing beside him, showed a trace of disdain in his eyes. Chapter 248 Yamato no Orochi. Bai Yu and Meditarumi walked on a sea surrounded by fog and reefs. The fog was very thick and the vision was blocked. This made Bai Yu feel uncomfortable. In the past, with the Dharma Eye, this was not a big deal. Now the yin and yang power of Bai Yu's eyes is very weak, and his vision is the same as that of a normal person, and he can't use any pupil technique. The sound of waves came from time to time, and the atmosphere was extremely depressing. If it weren't for Meditarumi having something like a compass, I'm afraid I would get lost here. I don't know how long they walked. Roar. A loud roar made the 2 people alert. Bai Yu held the Bai Yu sword across his chest, and Meditarumi held a shuriken in his hand. The 2 people vigilantly felt the surroundings. As a top ninja, if there is danger around, they will be very sensitive. But there is only a faint oppression around. This made Bai Yu's heart sink. Now Bai Yu can't use the Dharma Eye, but his other abilities are all there. But even so, Bai Yu can't detect where the roar came from. It can only be said that this unknown beast is very strong, even not worse than Bai Yu. Meiming, listen to me, hurry up and leave now. This guy looks very strong. Bai Yu said to Terumi Mei beside him in a deep voice. No, now that you're here, I won't leave you here by yourself. Terumi Mei said stubbornly. You, listen to me, hurry up and leave. Bai Yu said helplessly again. What's the matter? We are here. I'm no longer needed. Are you driving me away? Terumi Mei said deliberately. Whatever you want. Bai Yu said helplessly, and then continued to be vigilant around. Terumi Mei saw Bai Yu's look, smiled slightly, didn't say anything, and also paid attention to the surroundings. The two slowed down their pace, which can be said to be step by step. This area was foggy, and I didn't know how long I had walked. Roar. This time the roar was louder than the last time. Bai Yu knew that this was the right way to go, and the distance should be very close. Terumi Mei felt her ears buzzing. Bai Yu closed his eyes and listened to the sound to determine the location. Without hesitation, he slashed a sword energy towards the source of the sound. The purple sword energy quickly passed through the mist, but it was soon wrapped in the white mist. It disappeared. Terumi Mei was also ready to avoid possible attacks from the surroundings. Roar. There was a hint of anger in this roar. At this time, the surroundings began to change. The mist began to fade and become thinner. The water level was also rising. Bai Yu and Terumi Mei quickly stabilized their bodies to prevent the waves caused by the rising water from causing the two people to fall into the sea. After a long time, Bai Yu was stunned. Terumi Mei was also stunned. How could this be possible? Above the two people's heads, there were 16 blood-red giant eyes! 8 scaly snake heads. Each head has a horn. 8 heads. And not far away there are 8 thick snake tails. It was the Yamato no Orochi! And the reef we saw before was actually on the body of the Yamato no Orochi. In other words, Bai Yu and Terumi Mei were walking on the back of the snake just now. The water level rose because the Yamato no Orochi turned over. And now the two people are in the snake's belly. But I don't know where it is in the snake's belly. Bai Yu was surprised to find that the mist before was the breath of one of the heads of Yamato no Orochi. It seems that Yamato no Orochi has turned into a dragon. There is a faint dragon aura on his body, and Bai Yu can clearly sense this breath. Especially the snake breath. If it is not turned into a dragon, it is impossible to breathe. The 8 pairs of terrifying snake eyes made Bai Yu's heart sink. Now that the Dharma Eye can't be used, he can't tell whether this Yamato no Orochi is a soul or a body. Bai Yu made a prompt decision, hugged Terumi and ran back. Bai Yu can be said to have made up his mind. What instant body technique, footwork, and the blessing of the sage mode, all used. Roar. Yamato no Orochi saw that the two little ants disturbed him and were about to run, and he roared angrily. 8 heads, 7 energy balls. Gathered together, a terrifying black energy ball was hit hard by the head in the middle, and the energy ball flew towards Bai Yu at a terrifying speed. I'm the idiot who said Yamato no Orochi was killed. I'm fucking you. Bai Yu cursed, while continuing to run. What made Bai Yu uncomfortable was that he and Terumi Mei walked a long way, and there was a vast sea around them. No shore could be seen. However, while running, Bai Yu discovered a phenomenon that made him happy. That is, Yamato no Orochi chased for a while and then stopped moving. It just stared at Bai Yu with 16 huge blood-red snake eyes and roared with anger. This made Bai Yu have some guesses. Memeing, don't move here, pay attention to that guy's attack. I'll go to the sea to take a look. Bai Yu said to Terumi Mei. Well, okay. Terumi Mei said shyly. Feeling the weirdness of Terumi Mei, Bai Yu couldn't help turning his head to look at Terumi Mei. When he turned his head, he instantly noticed that the posture of himself and Terumi Mei was a little awkward. Just now, in order to speed up, Bai Yu didn't even look at it and ran with Terumi Mei in his arms. But he didn't notice that his left hand passed through Terumi's armpit. Since Terumi has now recovered her figure and is slimmer, his left hand pressed on a place that shouldn't be pressed. Ah. Haha. I'm leaving. I'll be back later. Bai Yu quickly retracted his hand, touched his head awkwardly and said. Then he escaped into the sea. This bad guy. Terumi looked at the waves on the sea and said with a red face. Then he was alert to the surroundings, but his face was still red. Bai Yu dived underwater, restrained his breath, and the heat was also condensed on the surface of his body. Because snakes are very sensitive to heat. Although Bai Yu only relied on physical strength to move forward under the sea, his speed was also very fast. Swimming along the body of the Yamato no Orochi towards the source, it must be said that the body of the Yamato no Orochi is very long and very thick. Fortunately, Bai Yu used the chakra in his body to nourish his lungs so that he would not suffocate to death. When Bai Yu swam to the source, a flash of surprise flashed in Bai Yu's eyes! Bai Yu found that Yamato no Orochi was nailed to a small island in the sea. It may be that as time went by, the island was submerged by the sea. What was nailed to the island was the body of Yamato no Orochi. Bai Yu did not feel the vitality from his body. What does this mean? This shows that at this time, Yamato no Orochi was just a soul forcibly attached to the body. Generally speaking, Yamato no Orochi is still a soul. It has to be said that Yamato no Orochi is really powerful. If it is a living Yamato no Orochi, its strength should not be underestimated. After so many years of soaking, not only has the body not rotted, but the scales on the body still emit a creepy cold light. If it is a soul, it will be easy to deal with. Bai Yu showed a smug smile at the corner of his mouth. Chapter 249 Mad Dog Mode. Yamato no Orochi. Have you ever heard of the craziest mode of and pesticide? Then today I will let you see what the Mad Dog Mode is. I will bite you to death and suck you to death. Bai Yu shouted excitedly in his heart. Bai Yu calmed down his excitement and then drove the few yin and yang forces in his eyes. This yin and yang force is not gone once it is used up, but the recovery speed is very slow, especially Bai Yu consumed so much. If it were normal, he would just plunder from the world. Now, you have to pay attention to your strength when you plunder. A faint take-eye pattern appeared in his eyes, so faint that you can't see it without looking carefully. At this moment, a mysterious pattern appeared between Bai Yu's eyebrows. Different from the take-eye pattern in the immortal mode, it is a black and white rune that converges into a pattern similar to an eye. A take-eye magic ring appeared behind Bai Yu's head. This is the power of yin and yang. Bai Yu's spirit attracted it. The yin and yang power suddenly enveloped the body of Yamato no Orochi like a silk thread. Of course, it was only a part of it. The body of Yamato no Orochi was simply too huge. Bai Yu, the old cunning man, hid in a gap in the body part of Yamato no Orochi that couldn't move. In this way, even if Yamato no Orochi found Bai Yu, Yamato no Orochi could do nothing, because no matter how angry you are, can you destroy your body? If you destroy it, then go to see the old man Liu Dao sage. With the activation of the power of yin and yang, Bai Yu's heart was experiencing one of the four great joys in life, a long drought and a sweet rain. What are the attributes of Yamato no Orochi? There are 7 attributes of wind, fire, thunder, water, earth, yin, and yang. And now Bai Yu is absorbing the yin and yang attributes. The eyes that were close to exhaustion were like playing with the phone too much and dripping 2 drops of eye drops. It was so refreshing. Not only that, Bai Yu was also surprised to find that the physical strength of Yamato no Orochi contained dragon energy. For Bai Yu, who wanted to condense the dragon body, this was really a sleepy pillow. However, Bai Yu couldn't absorb all the rich dragon energy now. No matter how good the ginseng is, if you eat too much, you will have a nosebleed and may even die. Although the dragon energy is a treasure for Bai Yu needs to refine and absorb it a little bit. After all, it is not condensed by Bai Yu himself, but by the Yamato no Orochi. And although this dragon energy is rich, it is still not pure enough for Bai Yu, a genuine dragon, and there is a mixed breath. This is the snake becoming a dragon, and the dragon is a dragon. The Yamato no Orochi, who was full of anger on the sea, was stunned for a moment, feeling the passing of the yin and yang attributes in the body. Suddenly anxious, he plunged into the sea. Huge waves suddenly surged on the sea. It was really that the body of the Yamato no Orochi was too huge. Terumi Mei saw the huge waves coming from a distance. The momentum of the shadow level strongman was instantly revealed. He made several seals with his hands. Water escape, water formation column, water escape, water dragon bullet. The 2 ninjutsu were released in less than a second. It has to be said that Terumi, the Mizukage, has both strength and beauty. If anyone says that Meditarumi is of ours, Mustard will be the first to fight him. Meditarumi stepped forward domineeringly, and a stream of water spurted out of her mouth, with the help of the sea all around. A huge water dragon surged out of the sea, going straight to the raging wave. After a long time, the huge wave was split in half by the impact of the water dragon. It rushed past Meditarumi from the left and right, while in front of Meditarumi, and around it was calm. What a good water escape. However, when she saw the Yamato no Orochi disappear, Meditarumi panicked. She was going to find Bai Yu, but Meditarumi knew her strength, and going there would only cause trouble for Bai Yu. Meditarumi could only pray silently for Bai Yu in her heart. This is why Meditarumi can be a Mizukage. At the critical moment, she is absolutely not as panicked and impulsive as other women. She is absolutely rational and absolutely calm. Yamato no Orochi, with 8 snake heads, looked at the place where Bai Yu was hiding, and she almost wanted to cry. He was definitely angry, but he couldn't do anything to Bai Yu. Once his body was destroyed, the Yamato no Orochi would really go to the Pure Land. Bai Yu saw the 16 eyes glaring at him, and quickly accelerated the absorption. As Bai Yu's eyes absorbed the Teikai pattern, it became more and more obvious. When it became real, Bai Yu was completely recovered. Feeling the loss of the yin and yang power in his body, the Yamato no Orochi was so impatient. The strong evil spirit made the seafood in the surrounding seas flee for their lives and stay away from this place of right and wrong. After a long time, Bai Yu sighed. It's worthy of being the sacred beast Yamato no Orochi. It's really resistant to absorption. I've recovered, but this guy still has so much strength. If I hadn't been nailed here, I'm afraid I would definitely go there without a chance to return this time. Then Bai Yu stopped absorbing the yin and yang power. The faces around him were full of comfortable smiles. The eyes that were originally all white returned to normal. Haha. Bai Yu smiled triumphantly, forgetting that he was in the sea, and took a mouthful of very salty sea water directly into his mouth, choking Bai Yu and quickly closing his mouth, and moving the chakra in his body. Looking at the Yamato no Orochi in front of him, he smiled slightly. It's you. Collect. The Teikai ring behind Bai Yu's head rotated a circle, and a yin and yang force appeared in his eyes, covering the Yamato no Orochi, and slowly spreading all over the Yamato no Orochi's body. A suction force from the depths of the soul made the Yamato no Orochi irresistible. The Yamato no Orochi was successfully collected by Bai Yu into the Dharma Eye space. A faint light flashed in Bai Yu's eyes. The Yamato no Orochi felt that there was a hot shackle in his 8 brains. The fierce light in his eyes disappeared instantly. Instead, there was a sense of confusion, a confusion about his own snake life. As a powerful divine beast, the Yamato no Orochi clearly felt what the shackles brought him, that is, the rest of his snake life. He had to obey Bai Yu. And Bai Yu couldn't wait to start absorbing the dragon energy in the Yamato no Orochi's body. Of course, this dragon energy only exists in the Dharma Eye space, waiting to be slowly refined and absorbed in the future. Time passed little by little, and Terumi Medi couldn't wait any longer. But the clever Terumi Medi used the water clone. Dive into the sea to find Bai Yu. But until the water clone suffocated to death, Bai Yu was not found. Meditarumi looked at the vast sea, and her heart was extremely nervous. Then Meditarumi performed the water clone technique frantically. Search for Bai Yu with all her strength. As the sky darkened, the information that the water clone suffocated to death made Meditarumi numb. But Meditarumi still persisted. Until the moonlight first appeared, Meditarumi was soaked in sweat, and finally one of the clones saw Bai Yu, and suffocated to death. Meditarumi saw Bai Yu's appearance and thought there should be no danger. Only then did she breathe a sigh of relief. Then she took out the ninja tool to guide the direction and quickly went ashore. It was not possible not to go ashore. Meditarumi endlessly performed the clone technique. Although this ninjutsu did not consume much chakra for a shadow level ninja, it could not withstand the frequent use of it. After Meditarumi recovered, she ran to Bai Yu's position again. Chapter 250 Bai Yu surfaces. The sun rises and sets. The moon rises and sets. After several rotations, Meditarumi would return to the shore every day to rest, and then come back after resting. Eat some simple food, to keep yourself from being hungry. Just like this, she waited foolishly at the sea level above Bai Yu's head. Just when Meditarumi was about to become a husband-waiting stone, Bai Yu finally appeared. When Meditarumi saw Bai Yu, she rubbed her eyes twice. The first time she thought she was hallucinating. The second time she was shocked by Bai Yu's appearance. Beautiful face, silver shiny hair, a faint fluorescence on the forehead, deep eyes, a faint smile on the face, a white robe, and black boots. The seawater was blocked by chakra, and the seawater slowly flowed down, accompanied by the sea breeze, and the long silver hair moved with the wind. I was used to seeing Bai Yu's wrinkled face before, and this beautiful face made Meditarumi's girlish heart passionate again. This is too beautiful. Meditarumi looked at Bai Yu and couldn't help but sigh in her heart. It may also be due to the blood of the dragon clan, which is growing stronger day by day. Invisibly, Bai Yu brings others a unique pressure of the dragon clan. What is a dragon? The top race in the world. The power of the dragon clan is beyond argument. Bai Yu saw Terumi Medi waiting for him, and his heart warmed up. He walked slowly towards Terumi Medi. As Bai Yu approached, Terumi Medi's heartbeat began to speed up. Thank you for your hard work, Mimi. Bai Yu said softly, and by the way, he helped Terumi Medi smooth her hair that was messed up by the wind with extremely gentle movements. It's not hard. I'm glad you're okay. Terumi Medi lowered her head and said softly, I'm fine. It was a blessing in disguise and I gained a lot. Bai Yu said with a smile. How did you deal with the Yamato no Orochi? Terumi Medi asked. It's lucky to say it. Remember when I told you not to move? I'll go and take a look. Bai Yu looked at Terumi Medi and said, remember. Terumi Medi replied, well, when I was running with you in my arms, I found that Yamato no Orochi stopped chasing me. I wondered at the time whether Yamato no Orochi was unable to leave due to some kind of restriction, or whether there was something important that made Yamato no Orochi reluctant to leave. Bai Yu paused. Then, I restrained my breath and swam towards the source along the body of Yamato no Orochi. I found that Yamato no Orochi's body had no vitality. You should have heard of my medical ninjutsu. Bai Yu looked at Terumi Medi, who nodded. Bai Yu continued, after investigation, I found that Yamato no Orochi had died long ago, but his soul had been attached to his body, so he was not summoned by the Pure Land. Moreover, Yamato no Orochi's body was nailed by the legendary Tenmyukumo sword. He couldn't move. Then I hid in the crack of Yamato no Orochi's body and performed a secret technique to take Yamato no Orochi's soul into my eyes. Moreover, Yamato no Orochi's body had the power I needed, so it took a lot of time to absorb this power. Because I absorbed the energy in Yamato no Orochi's body, my body decayed instantly. After speaking, Bai Yu took out the Tenmyukumo sword from his handbag. Strangely enough, when Bai Yu first saw this sword, it turned out to be a double-edged sword. Although the shape was weird, it was also somewhat derived from the Shadow of Kin sword. But when Bai Yu thought of a very famous historical figure Zufu, well, Bai Yu readily accepted it, which was not surprising at all. This Tenmyukumo sword is indeed a famous sword of that period. It can cut iron like mud, and cut hair instantly. Even though it has been in the sea for so long, there is no rust at all. When Mustard writes about historical or legendary story tools in the future, please don't criticize me. Mustard is a scum in this regard. I'm giving it to you. Bai Yu handed the American English no Kume sword to Terumi Medi and said with a smile, ah, this. Terumi Medi was a little confused. She knew that Bai Yu was a master of swordsmanship, but for a kendo master, a famous sword is like life. Bai Yu actually gave it to her like this? Is Bai Yu hinting that she is more important than Bai Yu's life? Terumi Medi couldn't help feeling a little happy. But I can't use a sword? Don't ruin this famous sword in my hands. You should keep it for yourself. Although Terumi Medi was very happy, she still hoped that Bai Yu would have this famous sword and make Bai Yu stronger. Women are like this. Once they are moved, they will consider everything for their sweethearts. Of course, this sentence is only for good women. Isn't it just swordsmanship? I'll teach you. Although I can't let you use swordsmanship to fight against kendo masters right away, it's still possible for ordinary ninjas. Besides, you are a cage level strongman. If you really want to deal with some ignorant bastards, wouldn't it be too much of an overreaction to use ninjutsu? Bai Yu said with a smile. When Bai Yu said this, Bai Yu did not belittle the swordsmanship at all. When swordsmanship reaches Bai Yu's current level, it is undoubtedly powerful, but for people like Terumi many who have never learned swordsmanship, ninjutsu is definitely stronger than swordsmanship. Moreover, sometimes, using swordsmanship not only saves chakra, but also saves physical strength. Hearing what Bai Yu said, Terumi many wanted to refuse, but she was a little excited when she thought about being taught swordsmanship by Bai Yu. She didn't refuse, took the American English no Kirakumo sword, and made an extremely amateurish sword flower. How about it? Do you have the demeanor of a swordsman? Terumi Mei said jokingly. Well, beauty is there, people look at it brightly. But as for style, there is madness, and there is also style. Haha. Bai Yu finished speaking, laughed, and ran away without waiting for Terumi. With his strength restored, Bai Yu could easily sense that there was the coast over there. Terumi thought for a moment, and understood that Bai Yu meant that she was a complete layman, but beauty was there, and this sentence still made Terumi very useful. Arsehole, wait for me. But Terumi still laughed and cursed, caught up with Bai Yu, and ran to the coast with Bai Yu playing and fighting. It happened that the capital of the Water Kingdom was not far from here. The two went straight to the capital. Needless to say, Bai Yu was covered with salt on the sea. Although Terumi did not go there, she had some more or less. The two did not have new clothes. When they arrived at the capital of the Water Kingdom, Bai Yu took Terumi shopping generously. The two first bought 2 beautiful clothes each. Terumi might really like blue. She still picked a beautiful blue dress and bought a pair of long ninja boots. But Terumi also bought a blue hairpin. Shiraha still wore a white robe and black boots, but she bought new ones with slightly different styles, but they were similar to the previous ones. She found a hot spring hotel. This time, Terumi had recovered her figure and wore a veil. To prevent being recognized, she booked a room with a hot spring. The two of them went to the hot spring to soak in comfort. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.